Welcome to the Peen Check Podcast.
She could clap in there. Sync them up.
Should be chilling.
Brought to you live from the Jesters of the Folding Table.
Jesters of the Folding Table, yeah. You heard it here.
I fucking love that name. Like, actually, that
It
shit
is.
heat.
That's
That shit is heat, bro.
that's a good
It
name.
is heat.
Dude, but one thing that we talked about earlier that we got to get back into is that Pepsi Coke thing with girls liking Pepsi and guys liking Coke. Is that an actual thing?
I think
Dude,
so.
it seems like it.
From
Why?
my personal
Oh,
Oh, see you guys bumping the fucking table.
my personal observation.
it unfortunately be like that sometimes.
From my personal observation, I've noticed more guys drink Coke and more women drink Pepsi.
My roommate drank Diet Coke. Like, yeah, like all my friends would like buy like that were guys would buy Coke. Like, I'm trying to think of like, cause I never like paid that close attention
I'm
to it.
sliding.
But
I think that's true, actually.
like girls
Because I
just drink
keep
Pepsi
fucking
more
with the
because
table.
I started thinking about this. I'm like, dude, it's like not even just like my girlfriend. Like other people like are like girls like will have Pepsi more prevalent like in their home. Like I actually like. So that's got to be like a taste. So like I don't know. Like, does that mean like your taste buds are somewhat like regulated by your hormones or some shit or like what? Like why are fucking why?
What are they putting in there?
Yeah, or
I don't
yeah,
know,
what are they
man.
putting in there? Yeah, like,
Not testosterone.
we actually were having a talk recently about birth control and like so girls will pee, but the birth control doesn't actually get filtered out. I was having a conversation with my buddy Nathan, and when girls pee and they have like when they take birth control, they piss out actually a high amount of estrogen. So like Alex Jones actually brought this up with like turning like the frogs gay or whatever that everyone memes about, but it actually turned out that there was a certain hormone imbalance tested in the stream, and it actually so like amphibians
It ain't gonna work for me. My shit keeps
amphibians can
sliding.
do they can be
We're not
female
gonna
or
be
male
able to
depending on
use
what they
your
have the
video
least of.
then if it's not-
Like they can do that. Like they're allowed. Like their bodies allow them. I don't know why, because of whatever genetic history. They can be male or female depending on a situation. They can change their sexuality. That is something that they can do. But with the increased hormone levels in the water, it was estrogen levels in the water. All of the fucking frogs in that area, in certain areas where this was like confirmed to be runoff of estrogen levels, like were only female frogs, which isn't good. That means there's no competition being made. Like there's no males to seek out competition. Like it destroys a whole ecosystem of animals. All right, and that is the least concern, right? So we have estrogen levels in our own water supply. So we've actually had the lowest amount of testosterone levels recorded in males from the ages of 18 to 25 in ever recorded history.
It's dropped by 1 or 2% constant since
Bro,
like the
I've
40s, the
said
60s.
it. I've said it.
Soy Boy Nation.
No, like every single generation. Yeah, you just see the kids
Lower
in
T,
fucking
bro.
middle school or like the kids you would see in elementary school. You're just like, what the fuck?
Bro, it wasn't a
Yeah.
thing. We all because like I remember like the
Yeah,
kids
bro.
being like huge and like obviously this is
know.
all anecdotal perspective, right? Because when you're of the age, but I didn't grow. Like I'm still the same fucking height. Like I didn't
There
like.
are so many.
I understand how your
I
facial
swore I
structure
straight 2 inches.
your facial structure can change when you grow. I totally understand that, but it does seem like the kids aren't as mature at the same age that we were. And I think, like, even being our age, I think we would have a pretty decent perspective. You could say, well, yeah, you saw it from the age of where you were at being immature. So, yeah, of course you're going to view things as being older from where your perspective is. And, you know, like, I totally get it. But I do see that there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. Like, there has to be. There has to be.
Like, I'm just like, I swear to God, I'm just in awe. Like watching these kids walk home. It's like,
Bro, like,
he walked out to high school.
that kindergartner
Bro.
doesn't have a fucking parental
Bro,
guardian by him.
bro, when
Somebody
we
help
were
him.
Juniors, bro, when we were juniors and seniors, the freshmen straight up looked like fucking like 5th graders, bro. Tiny, just little fucking bro.
They looked young
Shit was
as
wild.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, that shit
It
was whack.
fucking wild.
Yeah, it felt out of place.
They're stalling puberty until like 24, and then they turn female.
But that's the thing though. It doesn't stall puberty
That's
in
fucking
females.
hilarious.
It
Romo's head peeping over.
when
here.
females are getting their periods and are maturing at a much younger age as ever. So females have bigger breasts than they did on average at a younger age. Like generationally, women have bigger breasts and mature at much younger ages now because of the estrogen levels. Like they have a much higher amount of estrogen and go through their puberty much faster. But then you have these fucking soy boys going, and this is, and I don't know, like every city has their own filtration system with their water. Some don't give a fuck, and I don't even know what type of filtration you have to do to filter hormones, because you have to like, I'm not gonna go into anything, but like how you filter things, you need a completely different process to filter certain things through water. Like some things are more soluble, some things are extremely concentrated, some things are just harder to filter out because you need something else to filter out certain things.
Well, you can rest assured that Bill Gates will be taking over all the water filtration in America.
Oh, that's fucking fantastic.
Dude,
I'm sure the guy who knows how to build computers has a very sound ideology on how filtration works through water supply.
The guy
Sounds solid.
Of course.
He does. I think he has a very.
I don't.
good
I think
knowledge,
Bill Gates is
and I think he's
malicious.
gonna fucking-
No,
yeah,
I think he's malicious.
I found
It's
a
malicious.
video on
He is
Instagram.
retarded.
I found a video on Instagram. It was a short or reel, whatever, of the fucking YouTube video that I saw in middle
Bro,
school.
you keep
That's
shaking
not
the table.
yeah, that's not-
moving sliding this shit,
that
bro.
I saw in middle school. That's not on YouTube anymore. Of him talking about depopulating the planet with vaccines.
And then, like, how can anyone say that there's a total population on a planet? Like, you have no idea. Like, people
No,
like
of
put all
course
like
not.
these boundaries. They're like, we gotta have like 2 billion. Like, we can't have this many people. Like, we don't. It's like the problem isn't the amount of people. The problem is you don't have the amount of energy resource to supply this many people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the people problem. I mean, how are you gonna blame the amount of people? How the fuck is that gonna be your forefront to the issue? Let's solve the energy crisis.
The
We
less
gotta get
peop-
rid of these humans.
The less
What the
people
fuck?
there is, the
But
easier
your energy
it
source,
is to
dude.
control people. That's just all it boils down to.
Like,
That's what they want.
but
They
this-
want to
this-
be able to control us, control every aspect of our life.
the Green Party, right? I'd be totally with them if they weren't so anti-human. Like, it seems like all the Green Party, they're like, we'll do this, but like the problem is us. It's us. We're the problem. We're always the problem. But that's like, if you are going to solve an energy problem, that is not what you view as your problem. You view as, this is the capacity of this producing this. A windmill can produce this. What is the average amount of energy the joules this can produce? Like the issue isn't about humans. It's about what can be produced. Like, it's a practical issue. It's not a practicality. You believe, oh, the humans are the issue. Well, it's like, no, the humans are going to be there, and now you need to work around it.
They just simply don't agree with you. Like,
No,
that's
they
just
simply
all
just
it is.
want to. No, it's
They're
a
like,
no.
nah,
It's a
the
lazy
people
approach.
problem.
It's a lazy approach.
Yeah,
They don't
I
want to
just
solve the
think
actual
you
issue. They're like,
don't
well, let's get
agree.
rid. These people are just retarded. That's the issue.
Well, I
No,
think
that's not
they-
the issue.
they
The issue
think
is you're not
actual-
smart
Yeah, they
enough.
think the actual issue is the people. So it's just like,
Like, how can
Gotta
that
be
be the
quicker
issue?
than that.
That's the problem with the Green Party. I hate the fucking Green Party. They don't like. It's so anti-human. But like, how can you be like, oh, we're so for the Earth striving, but we're anti-human? But it's like, what's even the point of that? Like, how can you even say like,
Well, yeah, it's like the protesters who throw food at the arch, saying that if we don't stop, we're not going to have any food left. Well, then why are you wasting food?
yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, that's kind of retarded.
It's like
Yeah.
that's not how you protest for it, Rick. That's not even how you would.
Oh, thanks, bro.
It's too. I don't know. It doesn't make
Go ahead.
any sense. Like, how to solve like some of these issues in the world. People come at it like, oh, well, just people like are retarded. People have to stop doing this. Is like, no, you have to account for that and then solve the problem. People get paid a lot of money to solve problems. Like these government positions, like they also get paid a lot of money, but they are not held to the same standards because they'll get fired. A private company doesn't want someone who's lazy. They're just gonna fucking fire your dumbass if you're not solving problems for the company. That is just how it goes. It is so retarded. Like, and they're so cozy in their government positions. It is so hard to get fired in a government position once you're in and you have a certain tenured status.
Oh, yeah.
You're almost you would have to
They
force
fail up.
early retirement on someone,
You fail up.
and that's almost impossible to do in government. It blows my fucking mind, dude. That is that is the legitimate issue. Is they're just lazy and they're like, well, that is difficult. That's gonna cost a lot of money, and a lot of people are gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's like, what the steps you have to take to solve the issue. It's not like nothing's gonna change. These humans are just gonna keep doing what they're doing. It's like, no, windmills aren't that efficient actually, and the solar panel thing might work if you can set them up in the desert in a certain sequential basis, but it's not gonna fucking work. It's not practical. We can't do that. How are we gonna get the energy to everyone's homes?
Well, the problem is communism has been infiltrating our society for even before JFK.
It's like the 30s. The Red Scare never ended.
And
It never did end.
but the ideologies are like, yeah, like you're exactly right, because like the ideologies are like congruent. Like, right, you have like, it's like the identitarian, like everyone's like so focused on what they identify as, but then like you see like the regimes, not just like communist regimes. Let's talk about like authoritarian regimes too, like that aren't communist but more fascist, the complete opposite. Because there's like communists is like wants reform in government, but fascists want to keep, they're more conservative, right? Fascists are conservative, and communist people are more liberal. The communists want to completely destroy everything. They want to redo the whole system, but fascists are hard set by the traditional rule and will do anything to enforce it. So I don't like, you have both of these fucking cases. The ideologies are so congruent in like this identitarianism, like where you're like, I identify as this and this. It's very congruent with people identifying as like what they think matters. Like, because like, why do you care what you identify as? Like, you're like, I identify as this. Okay, but like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't. That's not even adding anything to a conversation.
Well, the problem is we're brainwashing our youth.
It's like, is that supposed to put you like? Because I know like people will pick groups like people will hang out with certain people that they share similar interests with. It's like maybe you change your identity so you can be and hang out with a certain group of people. But these people that are doing this are like autistic. They're not even social people. That's not even the case. So why are you changing your identity? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this? Like, why are you so focused on like that? Like, there's so many complex. You don't know anything about life, and you're focused about just like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, even the people that are the most educated don't know fucking shit. They don't know shit. It's so fucking. It blows my fucking mind. Like, dude, you are so like when you always say escaping the Matrix, dude. Like, and it's like maybe that is just fucking it. Maybe that is just fucking it. Like, not like I don't understand this shit. I don't like.
Gotta escape the Matrix.
I would love to have an individual conversation with
it.
every single person that does this. Like, or whatever the fuck, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. He's got a case of the Zoomers.
He knows a guy who knows a couple. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you call them guys, that might be
how
offensive.
they identify, whatever.
It might be.
Doesn't matter. No one cares.
I'm not even going to go into how I feel about those people because that's not internet
You
worthy.
already said it.
Well, even
you
if
just
you're
said it right there.
even if you're hate, even in like that's
like that,
that's
we're
another
canceled.
thing. It's such despicable behavior. It's like I hate them too. I'm not gonna like. I probably won't say the same things you do about them because I don't care. Like I don't care. Like I don't even have the energy to spend hate on them. It's just like it's such a worthless cause. Like that's just like how it should be treated. Because the more it's treated like if you're just ignore them. Like it's such a small issue. It's like if you just ignore them, it's gonna go away.
We used to help them.
The problem is like when you hate people like this, it gives them more publicity. And man, there are so many like people are just so smart the way they handle their PR on like big YouTubers.
Bro.
I didn't realize how smart people are in handling their PR because of shit like this.
About the
It's
YouTube
it's not being hateful.
apologies.
Even okay, that is so ass. But like you don't want to be hateful against the group you're even opposing because not only will it make you look bad, but you give them more publicity in the process. Even if your points even if you prove a huge point and everyone more agrees with you, you still made it a big issue and made it huge in public. Unless it's like a FTX where someone's going to prison, I don't see why it doesn't like this whole issue about identity is you just hate it more. It just fuels the fire. That's why in that you just have to you just treat them like they're little baby Google
Well, have you
Gaga
ever heard
kids.
of the saying?
Okay,
Well,
you just treat them like they're kids, and it's not an issue because everyone's an adult. That where this is apparently all an issue. This is why everyone's taking training courses on how to be more diversity inclusive. Even at Ford, I'm there's training it's everywhere. My
Well, have you ever
dad's
heard
going
of
through.
the
My dad's been hired at Cleveland.com/playing dealer for who knows how long, and he has to go after 25 years doing diversity program training.
Well, have you ever heard of the saying, hard times create strong men?
Yeah, I have.
Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. It's a generational cycle. It happens about every 70 to 80 years. We go through that cycle. And the problem is, the way that we're raising kids now is despicable. It is evil, the way we are raising kids. Like,
It is. It comes
That is
down to
facts,
the parents raising the children.
That is
It's
facts.
hard work.
We
It's
have
hard work.
We have no family structure, dude.
Yeah, and there's no
Nothing,
family
man.
structure.
if I would have... Let me just say this. If I would have
I've
told
seen it.
my
It's
old man...
I've seen it
so
too.
sad,
I've seen it a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, bro.
If I would have told my old man that I was gay or trans or whatever the fuck, the first thing he would have done was he would have beat my fucking ass. The second thing he would have done was kick me out and let me fend for myself. Because the problem is, and this is what my old man's told me a lot, people don't understand how the world works. People just think it's all rainbows and unicorns. Like, oh, I'm gay, I'm this, I'm that. That's not how it fucking works. No one gives a fuck about that.
That's brutal for your dad to do, but look at the practicality of what he put you through. I'm gonna be this. Let's go through the example. You're now whatever. You say to your dad you're out of the closet, whatever the fuck, and he kicks you out, and you want to keep believing with what you want to believe. The same thing will happen with society. The same thing will happen the way your dad kicked you out of the house. If you are gonna be so divergent off of what people agreed through years of fucking civilized, just being alive, like just everything is just so civilized and complex. You're like, how the fuck is this? Like, people are so malicious and chaotic. How do we even have any order in any of this? People have spent so much time. If you keep acting like that, like how you were to your dad coming out, you're just gonna get rejected by society too. I think your dad taught you a pretty good lesson with that, because if you're like, I want to be so different, you have to conform in a certain way. Like, I'm not telling you to conform in every way, but like, find compromise in how people act, right? Like, that's how you can conform. You don't have to conform. You don't have to be like a little slave. You just compromise.
We're teaching our youth to not conform to societal norms. I'm not even gonna bother with this anymore.
Yeah, they're saying you can do whatever you want. That's exactly what they're saying. They say you can be whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Do you want to kill yourself at a young age? That's fine. We'll provide death care for you. I think below the age of 18, I think that you have the brain capacity to think that if you want to get euthanized, you can do it.
Well, honestly,
is that how far shit will go?
As a minor,
it's already in
Canada,
10 states.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
C7,
10
Bill
states,
C7,
10
Bill
states in
C7.
America. 10 states in America.
Probably not for under 18s, but yes, there is death care. It's not for under 18s
No,
here,
it's not for
but
under
it
18s
will
here,
be.
but yes, in
it
Canada,
can
yeah.
be, and that's why that kind of legislation is like. I'm not gonna like if someone is in horrible medical, like they want to die, dude. They're in really bad condition. Like, seriously, they're gonna die. Like, I understand. Like, there was actually I think his name was Dr. Death. You can look this up. He actually
Dr. Mengele.
Yeah, he performed a lot of people wanted to die, and their family signed off on it too. He had family signatures and everything. It was illegal.
If
to
you're
do.
suffering, that's one thing.
It's
but
one thing.
It's turned into
it's a specific medical case.
It's turned into a veteran
You don't
saying that I want to kill myself. I need help, and them, instead of giving him help, they help him kill himself.
Death care. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his family's like, what?
There's been studies done.
Actual fuck.
People jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. People that actually they say that survive jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, they will say
they regret
it.
As soon
As soon as they jump, they regret it. As soon as they jump, they regret it. So how can you provide death care for people that are not stable mentally, and say that that's the right course of action? That is malicious. We call that malicious. When you have legislation that's around it, who knows where that can go?
Bless you.
When you start making laws around that stuff, which is like case by case, like these people that we just talked about in these medical, like they want to die and they're in really bad. Like, let's be honest, they probably should die. Okay, and that's okay if it's the consent of them and their family. That is such a sensitive case. You don't make a law around an outlier. You don't make laws around outliers. You make laws around, like, dude, this is fucked up in our system right now for everyone this. That's what it.
Well, like, I guess it kind of boils down to: does someone have the right to want to end their life?
I don't.
Not even looking from a religious standpoint, saying like all life is precious, like I believe, to a certain extent. But does someone have the right to end their life if they so please?
That's funny you bring up the religious thing, because I was thinking about recently, like the Constitution. You know, like "In God We Trust." And you look at like certain law and legislation in other countries, and a lot of them are actually based off of founding religions. Like a lot of like the main basis of laws. We're not going to go over Sharia law right now. We're not even going to talk about that right now. But we're gonna like what you look at like certain countries, and their entire judicial system is based off of founding religious stories and ideology. That's actually the case for everything. That's what, like, religion actually creates legislation. Like, it does. Like, there's no other argument for that. Religion has the basis, morals, foundation, and ideology that creates law. That creates civilized society. It creates civilization. I'm sorry. You can be a chaotic society, but I don't count that. That's not a civilization. I didn't actually realize, and I started like looking into more religion because like I grew up religious, but I'm agnostic because I don't really know. But like I am like there, and I'm not gonna get. I don't know. Maybe I might get back into religion. Like I might actually believe in something like that. But I'm not like in a god. That's a fandom. You believe in the religion for its ideology basis and how you believe you should act on a day-to-day basis with the individuals around you. That is what a religion is. Like I don't like a religion. Like yes, it's nice to believe in a god and like that's an extreme hope, but like if like religion like at its core like it's used for like practicality and being civilized.
Well, let me drop this on you. As religious as I am, or as spiritual as I am,
Bobbing and weaving these questions.
let me
Somebody
just
have
drop
the right
this.
to kill themselves, yes or no? Why or why?
The Constitution, the Bill of Rights states, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Yes.
So, if that's what the Constitution says, shouldn't, in theory, if you want to have an abortion, you should be able to do that? If you're a man and you want to date a man, or you're a woman and you want to date a woman, or marry a woman, you should be able to do that? If you're a mass killer, you should be able to buy a gun?
But you're over contexting this. Like this is all men are created equal under rights. Not all men are created equal in terms of rights. Like no, not in practicality in how life works. It needs like there has to be a basis for it in right system. Like that what that describes is just right. Like a man should be
law, right.
Like when you, like it doesn't imply like a man it doesn't imply all that. Like you can do whatever you want with that under our law, sure, but that's not what that implies. It implies that they all have the same rights. It doesn't imply that they're all practically the same. It can't do that. It can't do that.
What I'm implying at is we have too much government intervention. Our government is too strong the way it is now. It should be up to the states to decide what they want to do. And like I said, if all men are created equal, if you want an abortion, you should be able to get it on demand. If you're a mass killer, you should be able to purchase a firearm without a background check. All that sort of shit. If you're a man and you want to marry a man, you should be able to do that. Isn't that what the Constitution says? But our government being too big says we can't do certain things. Isn't that what we fought a revolution for?
Well, right, and like what's the point of reputation now? Like you're like all men are created equal, but like we have a like if someone's a mass murderer, like they lost their rights already. Like they're considered a criminal. We don't consider someone under that. Like they're not going to be considered.
Well,
under that.
we also live in a society.
Like people how could you even argue that? Like people that like, and I know that's not what you think. I know you were doing that for anti-argument's sake, and it's like people that do believe like that. Like that is so stupid that they would believe like that because the Constitution doesn't say that. The Constitution just like applies the right. So if you have someone who's a mass murderer, like maybe they didn't get caught for it. So I guess under the reputation of everyone else, they have rights and they're civilized, right?
Well, shouldn't a criminal still be able to purchase a firearm to protect themselves?
No, because under our laws, they're not upheld to the same rights because now they're a criminal. And when you apply to every job, you have to note if you have a criminal history
You
for that
shouldn't
very
have
reason.
committed a crime if you wanted to protect yourself.
And I'm not saying.
Well, what if it's a petty crime? What if you didn't even like kill someone? What if it's like
you have
a drug charge or something like that? You had an ounce of bud on you. Should you still be able to purchase a firearm?
I can definitely see there being overlooking for that, especially going through certain training. Like if you go through all the necessary paperwork, and a certain board of people deem you necessary to own a firearm, I don't see why that would be an issue.
Well, let me ask this.
Because people change over the course of time. You can't take a petty crime, but when you murder someone, like that's not a petty crime. Like,
Yeah,
what is like you have to take this case by case. Like, who can own a firearm?
That's why you expunge.
Yes,
in a matter of time you go in, yeah. And you
Expunge.
But
Woo! Yeah, I'm a clean boy.
even then, like,
Feels good being a minor.
Yeah, there's felons that have gotten their felonies expunged.
That's why we make mistakes as minors, baby.
Unfortunately,
Expunge.
I believe that there should be an updated background check, something that has to do with your mental stability, like not like
Even with
past
mental
history.
stability,
It
the
is.
Second Amendment is a God-given right that says you have the right to bear arms or form a militia.
I guess you're right, yeah. So I guess we just have to do better.
I think
by
background checks are unconstitutional.
This goes.
That's,
this goes.
That
this
we
goes
consider
in-
that a hot take.
This goes
Well, I
very.
mean-
This goes deeper into everything. It's just a society. It's like if you want, it's things are the way they are on purpose. They're not meant to be. They're not meant to be as efficient as possible. If things were meant to be efficient as possible, the school systems would have been changed by now.
There's oversights.
Everyone would have took it. Everyone would have to take a Second Amendment course so they know how to use guns if they're fucking legal in this country. Everyone would be taught on police etiquette, on how to deal with the police. Everyone would be fucking everything is designed to be chaotic on purpose.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing.
want to touch on kind of what he said.
Nothing is in place to be efficient.
So, I think ultimately what you're saying is I kind of agree with you, and that makes sense, right? But we make the certain rules for a society to kind of just be like, all right, well, we have these rules in place, so that way now you're deemed as a criminal. But I also understand what you're saying, where it's like, I don't know, man. If you had the wrong people in power, they just deem anybody a criminal, and now you have no rights anyway. Like, having laws about that is kind of fucking... Ultimately will just become bad, right? Because there's malicious people that'll find out how to take control of your system and abuse power, right? So
segues so well into what I was going to say.
In a way, it's pretty tough to say, but I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like, if the power's in the hands of the wrong people, it's like, you shouldn't have rules like that in the first place.
Yeah. Everybody should be well equipped with the gun. It's not like you don't take it away, you just know what you're doing with it.
Can we talk about two things, please?
Well, they're limiting their access for you to purchase a firearm by going through a background check.
Intent,
that's why it's unconstitutional.
Oversight, and intent. Okay? Like, there is a lot of things that get oversaw in the process because people don't really care about their job that much, and things slip through the cracks, and they don't do a good job. Okay? That's oversight. Intent is doing things on purpose to make things difficult for other people, right? That could be considered malicious intent. I don't give a fuck what you justify the intent as. It's just intent. You have to consider when you have a system like this. When you have people. Well, what is the law? These people. It's just who's in charge of the law, right? Because now people are getting charged, and it's obscure because these are the people that are making it. You don't really. This isn't how things are supposed to be. When we were all just born here, people eventually got power. People decided this is how things are going to be, and things eventually, they come to this. But is it intentional, or are there just government oversights? Like, you have a bunch of people down the branch of the hierarchy that oversee these types of laws. It goes all the way up. It takes a long time.
Yeah, it was bad to drink that.
I think it's oversight. There's no malicious intent. I think it's people that don't give a fuck about their jobs. I don't think anything is actually malicious intent. I think at the higher ups, yes, there is cahoots and deals being made that you can consider malicious intent. But when it comes to, like, just regular government people, I just think it's oversight. I literally think it's all oversight. They don't care. They're not going to reform their system. They don't get paid enough to reform their system.
Well, the government has
They're
no
on salary.
right.
They're on salary. They can barely be fired. What incentive do you have?
The government has no right to know if you have a gun or not. I should be able to walk into a gun store, be like, I want that gun right there, and walk out. There should be no government intervention whatsoever.
It should.
That is also unconstitutional.
There's too many. Like, it's just not. That's just not how it is. It's just not how society is.
Like, there needs to be training.
You're gonna have to have mass. Yeah.
What people don't understand, though, is one of the first things that Adolf Hitler did was he took the guns away from people because the government knew who had guns.
You're gonna have to start with kids.
Dude, there's a serial number on every gun.
Yeah.
That is so trackable. It's not even funny. If a government wanted
The
to find
government
every
has
gun,
no right
if the
to know
government
that
wanted to find
information.
every certain ABC part of an engine because it has a certain order number, an item number part, they could fucking do it in the blink of an eye because it's in the means of production. It doesn't matter if it's a gun, if it's a part for this or whatever. They could do it in an instance because it's all recorded. The only way around that, if you didn't want government bombarding it, is either like no law on it at all, or like they're gonna find it unless it's a scratched off. It's an illegal gun. It has no serial number.
Well,
That's the only other instance of.
Let me have another hot take right here. All right, so as much as I'm against abortion and think it's wrong, I think the whole argument against abortion contradicts itself. Does the Constitution state anywhere that abortions are illegal?
What were you going to say about the gun issue before we go to abortion? Because you sounded like you wanted to say something.
Well, I was going to say something more general. Like, in my mind, it seems like you guys, like, one of the things that I feel like should be brought up is that he's arguing for no control. Like, it's simply stated that they just shouldn't have the authority to do any of these things.
Libertarian.
They literally shouldn't do anything. Right? But most people want to live in a society that has some form of control. Because if not, it's just chaos, right?
People want democracy because it makes them feel safe.
Right.
That's all it boils down to, but democracy doesn't work. in the sense that we're talking about right now.
In any form of governmental control will probably not work.
Democracy only lasts about 250 years. If you look at any other democracy or republic throughout history, they only lasted around the ballpark of around 250 years. Because at some point, someone got way too powerful and way too greedy, and it became a dictatorship. Prime example, the Romans. The Roman Republic didn't last more than, if I remember correctly, it was maybe a little under 300 years, but then it became the Roman Empire. Because people got way too greedy and took over. That's how it happens. That's how it's always happened, and that's how it's always going to happen. People get way too greedy and take control of the people.
Well, people don't, and let's take in for the people that even have that try to put everyone's best interest in mind. You can't have everyone's best interest in mind because you don't know what everyone needs from every group, like and allocated. Like you have no idea. Like like what you were just saying, power to the states. Different groups of people want different laws. They want to live a different way. They don't want to live this way.
Each state in our nation is essentially a separate country. We're just a united state.
So would you? So I'm curious to what you would think. Do you think that there should be no federal government?
No, but they should have way less control.
I'm asking him. I'm asking you because you sound like you would say like I don't know. I'd like to hear your take.
There should be no federal government. It
You
should
actually
all be
think that?
It should be up to the states. That's how it should be.
Then?
Exactly.
How are we
How are
united
we
with
united?
no fundamental federal baseline, right? With
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not going to a war with fucking
props,
Texas. Yo, if we're going to a war with Texas, I am going to Canada. We will lose.
No, I'm going to Texas.
Well, this is the argument,
their
Bro,
side.
they're
This
not
is the
at the
argument.
borders. You're not gonna be able to get into
No,
Texas
no,
by the time you know that
no,
shit. I
chill.
guarantee you.
This is
You
the
won't
argument
know.
that
You won't
started
know.
at the very founding of our
You're
nation.
fucked.
I got homies in
No,
Texas
you'd fly to
that'll let
Canada.
me in, bro.
Oh,
I got
hey,
homies
well,
in Texas that'll let me in. You feel me?
This is the very
I'd go north.
argument.
That's when I'm a boot.
This is the very argument that started at the founding of our nation. People wanting a strong central government or people wanting a small central government with all the power to the states. This happened at the very beginning, the founding of our
They
nation.
became a constitutional republic. We
That
became.
compromise worked,
Yes, the compromise was perfect.
but it doesn't work anymore because people are greedy and they've gotten into power.
Everything that's in the
Industry's
Constitution
different.
is our
Everything's
federal
different.
law.
Yeah.
It should
And
be law of the
then
land, like
everything
Lucas has
else
said
is
before.
all states. Constitution is federal. Everything else is all states.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
you need
I agree.
you need to have and there's a lot of federal government organizations
But
that
that's the-
you could say don't do their job, but you actually do need to have a federal government. You need to have a conglomerate. Like if you do not have the people like together, like under, like we wouldn't be a country. Like dude, we would go to war with some of these states. I'm not
We probably-
saying that it would
probably
happen.
would,
It
bro.
just would happen.
The purpose of
Look at California.
The
If we could declare
purpose-
war against California, someone would go in there.
Yeah, we
the
probably
purpose
Someone would.
of the
Yeah, we
federal
probably would.
government would be for, in this situation that's happening at the border, for the federal government to send troops down there.
Right.
That would be something that they would have power to do, but they just have way too much power now. We gave them too much power.
I'm not gonna lie though, I am feeling a little empty inside.
Did that make you feel good?
I didn't mean to drop that.
I can grab some Blinky for you. There's
Blinky?
right here.
Yeah, I was gonna drink that.
I can grab one for you because I was gonna grab another for myself.
This feels like some Aristotle, some fucking Socrates.
Yeah, this is a philosophy
It
type
should,
shit.
bro.
Yeah, no.
That's
The
just
federal
that's just how
government should
Well,
stick
hold on,
to
hold
their
on. Let's wait until
26
he
and-
gets
yeah.
back.
That's just how the intelligent people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Taking a quick break to get a little sippy sip of a drink.
What's this, ASMR?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
what the
quite gay.
He's like, holy
You're not gonna pick
shit,
up your
what the
can?
fuck?
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're just gonna let.
No,
Oh.
no, no. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Please no.
You gotta be quicker than that.
Can I hit that
I
box?
got you.
Hey, you a bitch, bruh.
No.
This thing's shit.
It is.
I got a new flavor though.
You need a new coin.
Huh?
You need a new
Fucking
fucking.
I just put a new coil in that bitch. Riley
How about-
is the vape god.
You need a new vape.
Still shit.
You're like, he's aight. He's aight.
It's so harsh. Like,
It
it's
is
just
harsh,
ridiculously
yeah.
harsh.
Yeah, it's
for no
fucking
reason.
because it's salt.
Because it's the coil taking the salt.
I don't know, like...
Well, let's talk about this really quick. Before we even go into abortion and shit like that. We can go into that a little bit later.
I did cut you off with that topic a bit there.
Let's talk about the minimum wage.
Can I slap that thing, Lucas?
Oh, of course.
Sure thing.
Let's talk about the minimum wage.
I disagree with you on this.
Wait, I'm curious. I have some hot takes about minimum wage right now, actually.
It should be a representation of the economy in that state, I think.
Yeah, the problem is if you raise the minimum wage, everything else rises, which has happened in this state of Ohio since my mom can remember. She said every time the minimum wage has gone up, even if it's by 10, 20 cents, the price of everything goes up 10, 20 cents.
Yes. Yeah. It's just
So wait,
inflation. It's just
I'm confused though. What happens if you don't increase minimum wage? Because you have minimum wage. If it stays roughly the same and goes up at a not rate that's consistent with the average inflation rate of how products have been moving up consistently, you have to move it up, dude. It's not like when minimum wage goes up, everything else goes up. That's because the average inflation rate for everything has gone up, though. Like, that doesn't help. The minimum wage doesn't help. None of that ever helps. But the inflation rate has stayed the same. People were begging. Dude, people could, I'm with you on not raising it, but people could not sustain at all. And I kind of am with it, to 10, maybe 11. But dude, I understand.
Too low. No, the federal one is too low at $7.25.
I mean, $8.75 it swings and things.
Right.
Back in 2013, if people made that now,
but
disastrous. They cannot live off that.
No,
$8.75. I can't even buy an hour. Does not even buy you a McDonald's large meal.
Let me give you let me give y'all my take
Seriously,
on this shit. All right.
That's fucked.
Let me give y'all.
Yeah.
That's why it's 15 now, and it's been going up like that. So there is a small truth to what you said. I'm not completely saying that that's wrong, right? You can't just fucking raise it to the fucking roof. You can't do this, especially 15 for McDonald's workers. That might even be too insane right now. Okay, I might even say that. But dude, you have to keep up with this inflation rate. It's been nutty.
It's so complex. It's a supply and demand thing, and there's high supply and little fucking. Or wait, am I saying that right? Nobody wants to fucking work. So you need some incentive, some fucking higher prices, as well as the inflation going on. So it's just everyone wants to. It's just a new age. Nobody wants to actually do physical work anymore.
It is new age bullshit.
They just want workers. Increase the wage. I just need workers. I don't give a fuck about inflation.
Hold on.
I just
jobs
want
to
workers.
America.
Hey.
Bring
This
jobs
man
to
started
America.
this topic and you guys are
I know.
crazy.
But
Let us
that was a
shipping them out.
good point. Good point with the needing workers.
Order in the court.
That's huge.
Order in the court.
I didn't even account for that.
So this is just my take on it. All right. Inflation that we know it now is all man-made. It's all created. Because if you look at banks from the first banks, the first federal banks that were in this country, you would have it would be a small bank and there would be a vault for each person, and each person would have their whole life savings in each vault. You know what I mean? They would have whether it was hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars sitting in the bank. Banks now do not hold that money. Your money,
They invest it instantly.
well, no, their money that they have is just a number on a screen. Banks do not hold that money anymore.
Yeah, their money, what happens is the banks don't have any money. They loan out all of the money. And what happens is if the bank fucks up and the bank has no money, the government takes on the bill. Yep. But what they do is they don't actually take on the bill. They just raise our taxes.
Yeah.
That's how this whole system works.
Because they need more money. Because they need more money to fund it, dude. What
they
they
loan money they
it's
don't
fucked.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Banks don't hold
make up
that money
for-
anymore. Banks do not hold that money anymore whatsoever. You cannot walk into a bank right now. Let's say you have $8 million in the bank. You cannot walk downtown to your fucking First Federal Lakewood and be like, I want to pull all $8 million out of the bank. They're going to tell you, we do not have the money for that.
Well,
It's all digital. Your money is all digital. A debit card is digital currency.
But there's still supply and demand of average
no,
goods.
you can't see. There's certain things that the banks will do, and I know this because I fucking read it when I was 18. It's certain banks, if you're you have to do some LLC, some stupid ass shit, but you can only put a certain amount of money in one bank account. And I'm sure there's some regulations to that, but I know Fifth Third was 2,500. What was it? 250,000. That's what it was to one bank account. But you could have multiple bank accounts, so I'm sure you could pull out.
Well, by federal law, they are required to give you your money one way or the other.
Yes.
If you go into the bank and you're like, I want all $8 million in cash right now, one way or the other, they are required by the FDIC to give you that money.
Yes.
But for a regular Joe Schmo walking into the bank, they're not going to have that fucking money on hand. They're going to tell you have to go to this branch, you have to go to this branch, and pull out all that fucking money that way. The thing is, the federal minimum wage should be at least $15 minimum, flat. Because the way it was before, in the early 1900s, I would say even up into the 90s, you're 15, a freshman in high school, you're working at the gas station down the street from you. What do? You work up and you start to learn how to work on cars. You're a mechanic now, and you're making a livable wage doing that.
The gas station has a garage, yeah. Sunoco has.
But that's how it was back then. The way we have it set up now is completely unacceptable.
The way we have it set up now is the government offers false goods to the people and they fucking jack the price up. Houses used to be $20,000, now they're fucking $200,000.
Exactly, but what I'm getting at is,
$30,000.
But the interest rate used to be 12.9% back in the 1970s because that was from a Great Depression fix, right? So you had interest rates that were still 12.9%. Our interest rates, and I understand they're going up. I know they're bad with housing, but they're considerably low on historical standards. The problem with what you just said is houses are way more expensive than they used to be.
Because everything's controlled by the banks, which is controlled by the government. The government just raises everything, so you have to take out these fat-ass loans, and in one way or the another, you own the government. You take out a student loan, you owe the government. You take
what I'm
out
getting
a
at is,
fat-ass check, you owe the government. The prices of goods need to come down. You raise the minimum wage to $15 in, like, Ohio, the price of gas would go up to $7.
He's got to say why. Why?
Let's say
Still more.
What I'm getting at is the way that it was set up before. There was no quote unquote minimum wage, but it was basically the same on the board. You made I'm just throwing a number here, not an exact number. Like let's say you made 50 cents an hour or something like that, working at your local gas station. You work there for a couple of years. You work your way up to mechanic. You can live a really good life doing that, making a small amount of money.
You still can.
Not necessarily. You can't raise a family on minimum wage the way it is right now. You can't buy a house on minimum wage.
What's minimum wage?
It's like 10 something an hour right now.
Yeah, you're right. You can't. Yeah,
Did they raise it? Because last time I checked, minimum wage federally was still $7.25 in Ohio.
No, I'm saying in Ohio.
No, it got raised before then. Yeah.
Because I know Ohio raised it to fucking 8.
We are forcing people. We are forcing people. Not necessarily forcing people. We are telling people you need to go to college to get into all this debt. So you owe us all this money all your life.
That's because slavery never ended.
It's fine, but it's a privatized
Yeah,
issue.
slavery never ended. But we take advantage of it.
Let's take Lucas's approach here. Let's lower the price of goods around. We are going to tell suppliers we are going to lower the price of goods around. You have hundreds, thousands of suppliers being told that now they're going to lower their supply. That's not how that works. They get their supply, depending on what they sell, from certain manufacturers. Let's do the food fucking industry, for example, because I'm not going to go into the plastics or any of those other fucking industries. Let's go into the fucking food industry. We're going to lower our prices on certain products here. Okay, let's do that. But except we get our things from so-and-so farms. And the way it's been subsidized, I don't know how the fuck we're going to lower our prices without meeting certain margins. We're going to be fucked. So now we have to subsidize certain farms so that the supply chain can stay consistent with lowering goods. It doesn't, this is a fucking complicated process. This isn't just something let's change.
It's not a complicated process.
No, it is.
It's complicated. It's complicated as fuck.
It's horribly complex.
We have so many things
I should have went more in depth
with
my
this. You can't just fucking.
The problem is that they created this problem and it's not fixable. You can't fix it because they've already,
so many people are in debt now.
Because just like you said, that's the argument to my point. Just like you said, you can't tell suppliers to lower their prices because
without subsidizing their suppliers.
Exactly.
You have the only way you're going to lower the price is subsidizing suppliers.
They fucked the system. There's no way to fix it. The only way to fix it would be to fucking recreate the whole banking system, which JFK and Abe Lincoln tried to do, and they both got for it.
Correct.
But there was also a point in time where everyone paid for everything in cash. The reason why things are so expensive now, why at minimum you can get a nice house for like $250,000, is because of loans. And this even goes into healthcare. This is why I believe healthcare is a God-given human right. Everyone deserves it. It's because of insurance.
Yeah, insurance is fucked all in every industry. Fucked everyone.
It's a coincidence.
Because-
Don't talk about it.
Because the whole medical field was like, oh shit. You know, if people have insurance, we could charge
you can
this
talk about
much.
insurance.
We
This
can
does-
charge
can't
this
talk about who's in
much.
charge
This
of
does bring
insurance
Yo.
up
companies.
the only
Yeah,
It's a coincidence.
there is
Fuck this
one
word.
there is one benefit to that, and the cons probably outweigh the benefit. But the only benefit to that is because they're getting paid the most here. All the best ones come here. Now, did the cons outweigh that benefit? Probably, because that's just the one good benefit.
Because you
that
gotta
comes
win as a
from that.
company.
But like I was
But-
saying, there was a point in time where everyone paid for everything in cash. Taking a loan out at a really high interest rate was never an option. Everyone just had cash on hand. That's why inflation that we know it now
I
is
don't think that's
man-made.
true. I think there were still contracts that you signed, and there were still documents.
Well, I'm saying in the sense that we have it now, where if I wanted to take out a loan for $15,000, I can do it on demand. You know what I mean?
Much easier, yes.
Yeah, but not everyone had like even people doing like business contractuals. Like I don't even think back then they would still use cash to pay everything on hand. Maybe it would.
That's
be
how it was at a point in
maybe-
time, though.
That
When
was
Henry
so
Ford released the
long
Model
ago.
T.
That's so long ago.
When Henry Ford released the Model
That's
T and
when-
made the 40-hour
that's
work
when
week,
things was
he made it
affordable.
so people working in his factories could afford a Model T in cash. And you also got to remember, there was a point in time where you were handed cash as a paycheck.
Not a lot of people could
It's
even
not-
afford
it wasn't
the Model
direct
T.
deposit.
Nobody could afford the Model T when it came out. It was too expensive. The
The
production
only
of it
ones
was
that
too
could- the
expensive.
only
That's
Nobody
because-
had one.
The only ones
That's
that could
because we
afford it
didn't
was
have
his
the,
workers.
what's it called? Fucking... I'm having a brain fart right now.
Because we didn't have a fucking assembly line. The
Assembly
assembly line
line.
wasn't created yet, and I knew exactly what you were about to say, and that's what made it so the average person could buy a car. Is cheap production.
But what I'm getting at is, there was a point in time where you could work literally anywhere you wanted to, work your way up a little bit, and live comfortably. You can't do that now. You are forced to either go into a trade or go to college, which going to college, you're going to get into a lot of debt for the rest of your fucking life if you're not lucky and you don't find a job in your field.
Well,
Not the rest of your life.
What time are we talking about here?
I-
Because back then it was mostly trades that you were getting into. There was no
Right.
fast food.
Right.
There was, I mean, you had restaurants. But
I don't-
That's a completely.
Well, like I was saying,
I
going
don't-
downtown
hold
and
on.
working at the gas station and working your way up to a mechanic, that's just how people
But not
did
every
shit
gas
back
station
then.
had a garage.
My kind of
At a
like,
point in time,
gripe
yes.
with this
Most
is
gas stations had a garage.
I have no idea how you can expect that to just be such a normal thing that everybody can do whatever they want and live perfectly.
What do you
That
mean?
doesn't like. Why does that make sense? That somebody can have the same quality of life as somebody who does something totally different.
Because that's just how it was at one point in time.
But at
Granted,
one very
there was the
tiny
Great
specific
Depression.
point in time, like
I'd argue it
there's
wasn't.
no way that we're gonna be able to make that the constant normal all the fucking
and
time.
everything
There
changed.
were
There is
very
no-
poor people
There is
all
absolutely
points in
no
time.
shot, and we all live so much better than we used to.
Right.
Yeah, keep in mind.
That's
Like-
very true.
Your cars are nicer. They're heated. Your seats are heated. Your car. Look at the expensive cars. It's gone up. Sure. Sorry to cut you
Like,
off there.
no,
I didn't
no,
know
it's
if that
not.
was the rest.
Yeah.
But the
no,
point
it's
that I'm
true.
getting at is inflation that we know it now, and I've said it a million times already, inflation that we know it now is all man-made, because banks do not hold that money. Inflation is created by the government.
Because banks have to be backed by the government, who get their money through taxes, through the people. Yes, you're right.
Banks at one point in time
But-
weren't backed by the government. They had
Privati-
that money in
privatized
vaults.
You have to be a little bit careful with privatized banks too. Now, because you need to make sure that your money's secure when you go through a privatized bank. Certain things can happen with a privatized bank, and without certain legal contractuals, you don't know how safe your money
That's
is.
why the Great Depression happened, because
Exactly.
all those banks held that money, and everyone pulled out, and they were like, "Fuck, we don't got the $50,000 you had in the bank.
Private.
Sorry, it's just gone."
But they're too big to fail now. That's why the Great Depression happened. So, without some intervention, and you're right, there was the system was all set up bad. But there's nothing you can do now to change the fact that these banks have to be backed. Because that's a practical problem that'll happen. There's a lot of people that can pull out their money at one time, and the bank doesn't have all that money at one time.
But most of our money is digital
because the
now.
bank has to make money, because a bank is also an organization that has to make money, or else it doesn't exist.
There's all this bullshit with the bank, so it's pretty good that you can make your own private bank and just put money in your own private bank if you really want.
Yeah, it's very true.
No.
But would you agree with me that money is all digital now? Most of it.
Well, yeah, they're making it digital because
thing,
we're
right?
we're on the way to a social credit score.
Oh yeah, bro.
Where when you
Yeah.
jaywalk,
We're basically there.
jaywalk and fucking they take $15 out of your account and you don't even get a ticket. You just look in your fucking bank account. You're like, oh, I jaywalked, my money's gone.
Cameras were considered unconstitutional in a lot of city districts. That's why they take. People were getting cited. You got a fucking ticket through a fucking camera.
Biden just signed something though that does make this. He didn't put it in law, but it sets the groundwork to put it in law. And I don't know the exact law because it's an umbrella law that's hidden.
Cameras are constitutional with a sign.
No, they're constitutional.
There have to be
It's
warnings.
public access. It's all constitutional. People, it just seems invasive.
The phone.
That's what people are
The
arguing.
cameras ends up coming down to the states because
Bless you.
It's not in the Constitution, so it comes down into the states.
Bless
And
you.
I think our state left it up to the cities, but
it's under federal legality.
But they said you had to do that. You guys see those cameras in Lowe's and Home Depot? They're piloting all this technology. Those cameras have facial recognition and plate recognition.
Oh, have you seen like the
Those
some like the
stand-up
Chinese?
ones?
So like in China, they have like cameras on like a lot of the street poles, and like you can actually see like the facial recognition thing on every.
Yeah.
Dude, it can recognize over like 1,200, 1,500 faces in like
A single frame?
1 to 5 frames. I think.
Yeah.
Like 1 to 5, 1 to 10
Crazy
frames.
shit. Yeah,
I saw
dude.
fucking an Instagram short, one of those fucking little story things. It was a cop car just chilling on a highway.
I saw the same one.
Fucking cars just flying. He gets every single car's plate, just and then it shows a picture of every single little like snapshot. I'm just like, what the fuck? You can just see every single person. Like that's ridiculous.
And it's tracking their speed. It says their speed when they passed everything.
Yeah, dude. That's
Can't catch can't catch them all.
And look at
Facts.
it. Yeah.
Can't catch them all.
Facts.
What are you gonna do? And
Well,
that's a
you can
problem.
catch one person. You can catch the oddity. But you can't catch 5 people doing it.
Yeah, imagine how much more money your district can make when you catch all of them.
Well,
Bam, we can get a better fucking training program for our police.
That's why-
Or we can just spend it on some
And then
fucking
we
shit
could
that
have-
doesn't matter.
And then we can have
Right.
absolutely no citizens because they're all in jail.
Do we want to go into the abortion talk now?
Dude, I'm down for whatever. Talk
Yeah,
whatever,
talk-
man.
yeah, say
Yeah.
whatever, yeah,
Whatever-
say
whatever
say
energy
whatever
you
you
have.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're men. We have no right to say.
I don't like your. There's only one black person in this room. We're on thin ice here. We don't have enough
Hey,
diversity.
dude,
Hey, according to Joe
I'm not
Biden,
even
if
a
you don't
full
agree,
black
according to
person,
Joe
bro.
Biden,
Damn,
if
I'm
you're
only
transphobic,
Yeah,
you're also
respect.
I'm only
racist.
half nig, bro.
Huh?
According to Joe Biden, what you say about trans people would make you also very dislike Stu based on the skin color.
Say that again.
I said, according to Joe Biden, his views on trans people also makes him viciously racist.
Oh yeah, of course.
How does he even view him? I don't even fucking. I
Well,
haven't
keep
been
in
I haven't
mind-
followed anything Joe Biden.
Keep in
I
mind, though,
have no idea.
I'm pretty fucked up right now. So
Sure,
I'm
for
gonna be
real, I thought you said you're a heavyweight.
I'm gonna be slurring
He's like,
my
heavyweight.
words a
Not
little
when it
bit.
comes to drinking.
I'm gonna be slurring my words a little bit,
That's
but
not an excuse for you to say something stupid. But continue.
all right. So with abortion,
Like,
does the Constitution state anywhere that abortions are illegal, that you can't have them, or is it just a religious standpoint that we're forcing onto people?
It's a state decision.
I agree, it should be a state decision, but is it
Right.
constitutional?
If I'm gonna give an answer, like an actual, it's not. I don't even think it's viewed as that. Like we are trying to get an argument. Like the whole argument of abortion stems from life. Where does it begin? Where is it acceptable to end? I guess just those 2 questions.
Why was abortion created?
For people in horrible circumstances that can't take care of children because they're in an extremely irresponsible decision.
That's not true.
No, that's not why it was made. I'm sorry. Like that's why it's practical. I
Are we
don't
gonna
like.
talk about eugenics.
Like, are like
Yeah, why is the real
was-
reason? Why is the real reason abortion even became a
I
thing?
don't know, like retard babies or like maybe
To kill black babies.
Yeah.
Correct.
That is the
Abortions were
original-
originally,
that is the
only in
original
hood,
creation
and it
of
was like
abortion.
a black thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So everyone can.
It always stems from
You
fucking
racist,
black
everyone-
community.
yeah,
It
everyone
always
who's
does.
pro-choice is
Depending on
racist.
where you are,
Racist.
depending on like what city you live in, there are more black babies being aborted than there are being born.
Correct.
70% of black babies are born in a single mother household. 70%. That's like a on the board across the globe thing. But the first one about the abortion thing is locality based. But yeah, bro.
And that's
Well-
just the blacks, unfortunately. Like, imagine all these other races. Like,
What about China with the one family or the one baby family?
Two family
Or is it
household.
two family now? I
Now
thought it was
they've
one.
changed it to
They-
two
they-
because too
yeah.
many people were killing their female daughter.
Yeah, one
killing
is-
their
yeah.
daughters because
It's
they need to
two.
have
They
a
did the
son.
two now.
The dads were like, "No, I need a son. We're fucking."
Yeah. Yeet. Yep.
What goes back to the question: are abortions constitutional? Is it protected by the Constitution?
It's not protected.
Well,
It's not. I would not
Does
say
it say
it's protected.
anywhere in the Constitution that you have the right to have an abortion?
no. See, but here's the thing, right? I think that kind of comes down to language. Because I think the big argument that people have with abortion is whether or not the baby has a right not to be murdered.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I agree with you.
So,
Individual life.
I think
Every baby
that's,
has
like,
a right to
the
not
argument.
be murdered.
Does the
So-
female?
But
does
if
the
we're gonna
female
go
have
into the
more
logistics
leeway
of it-
argument with holding the baby though, like, is there more argument given to someone who holds the kid? Because like, right, we're like, if it's gonna come down to the argument that Stu just said, we're gonna do okay. We're gonna this is individual life and rights. We're gonna do individual.
Quick response. It's 50-50 until it's about abortion. That's all I'm saying. That's usually how it seems to be. Everything
that
it's
doesn't make-
always like
but
a
if it's
50-50
50-50
argument.
but like the
until
50-50
it's
is like
abortion.
but
That's
like,
like nah,
the
you
50-50
can't really.
with the mom and the kid. What does the kid get? 50. The kid gets nothing. The kid has
No,
no
I'm
say in
saying
anything.
between the man and the woman.
Oh yeah.
It's 50-50 in terms of having the relationship, creating the child, raising the fucking kid.
I
You know
would
what I'm saying?
like yeah.
It's
when-
50-50
when it-
until it comes.
If
to
you
it,
knock
bro.
up a girl, that is your body inside of another woman's body.
Correct.
Yeah, I feel like.
She's also making the
But-
decision to have sex.
but-
by the way, you're not like
Yeah.
raping
Well,
this
it's
chick.
both. Yeah, it's both.
But-
Of course.
Let me say
50-50,
this.
We'll keep it on this argument. I like the 50-50. We'll stay on that.
As much
baseline.
as I'm against abortion and think it's absolutely evil, I think you should have the right to have an abortion. Because
yeah, I think I
going
agree.
back to the Constitution, all men are created equal.
Yeah, where's
If,
it say
if that's
women?
the standpoint, if that's the standpoint that the law of the land says, then you should have the ability to do whatever you want when you want. If you are created equal to everyone.
That's only
Because it also goes against the freedom of religion. The whole abortion argument is about it boils down to the freedom of religion. Catholics are pushing that on people that don't believe in God or practice other religions, that you can't have an abortion. So saying that abortions are illegal are technically unconstitutional.
Yeah, I think the big
See,
problem is in the media. The
well-
media wants to push for a 9, like, you know, like you can have the abortion up till like birth. Like you can give birth and then decide you want to have the abortion, and then
See,
they
I
kill
think
the
that's
kid.
kind of like. I think I could still.
But-
I think you could still argue kind of the
I think
same
most
thing,
people
right? Like
are
this,
okay
the
with
like
few weeks.
you saying that everybody's kind of created equally, so you should have the right to do that. Does that not include the child?
Yeah, that is
Right,
no
like,
like living
isn't, like-
organism inside you.
You get what I'm saying? Like, is that? I feel like that is an argument against
Does he get
what
no
you
say?
said, right?
It's like Bill
Like,
Burr.
does he get no say?
Well, if the Bible
what
says
about-
that
Does he get
life,
20%?
It's the Bill Burr.
Does he
shit
get
about the
10%?
cake.
Like what does
Yeah.
this kid
It's
get?
it's the Bill Burr.
Like when I had an argument with my roommate, like because he would say like, no, you're not allowed to have a dog here. I have my dog here, and it's gonna cause trouble. It's like, well, dude, you had your dog here. Like it's all of our home. Like, do I not get 33% because Miller would also like this dog in our home? Like, I'm like, I even said to him like, so Miller and me both want this dog Gunner in our home to watch while my cousin's away. Like, why can't I watch this dog? Like, do I not get 33%? Do I, like, and he wants
Well,
it. So isn't that 66 against 33?
Let me
And I
ask
brought that up
this.
with him, and he got dude. He went livid mad. Like, got livid mad. But I'm like, I think that's a fucking practical argument without stretching in the bounds of like like I think that's fair. Like I don't understand. Like so like what would the kid have? Like the kid is like I'm not gonna say that the kid isn't alive. Like the kid should have some say in like. Right? Like, is that not like?
Well, I mean,
well, if the
yes, I
Bible
get what you're
says,
saying, but it's not very practical,
I'm not saying he's
right?
like,
Because of course,
it's,
you know,
it's
like
not. But like,
leave
it's
the cake
it's.
batter in the oven. It'll become a
I
cake.
think it's
You don't know. Like, there's
Take
so
it
many
out,
bad
it won't
parents that have
become
had
a
kids
cake.
that have turned out okay.
yeah,
You
right.
can't like. Who are you to decide what that life will like?
If the life is worth living,
like the fruition of
what I'm
life, like
saying?
you have no idea.
well, if the Bible
No.
says
So
that
that's
life
where
is
I'm coming at it
created,
from. Like,
if the Bible says life is created at the moment of conception, does everyone believe in the Bible?
well, I don't like the
No.
whole like freedom of
but
religion
where,
thing.
where can you draw the line that can't
Muslim
be
babies
applied
don't
to
abort.
something else?
Muslim women don't abort their babies. Jewish women don't abort their babies.
Where
But
can
do they
you
raise
draw
them
the
properly?
line?
How they get it made for?
That's what I'm
Those-
getting at with
those
this whole
two groups,
conversation.
yeah,
Where
I'd
can you
say
draw
so.
the line with it? You know.
Well, right. You shouldn't.
okay.
I don't agree with using the Bible as like the two authority argument. Like, well, it's what the Bible says. Like, who gives a fuck? Not everybody gives a shit about what's in a book, man.
But
So-
as a United States citizen, and again, I don't support abortion, but as a United States citizen, don't you have the right to do whatever you want whenever you want? Isn't that what the Constitution's for?
Well, you
Isn't
at
that
least
what it was built
well, at
upon?
least you cited
What we
your
fought
sources.
a revolution for?
At the very least, your sources.
Well, like you were saying, it's the in the Constitution. You know, it's these unalienated rights. They're talking about the rights in the Constitution. Those are the.
Unalienated.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, that's
I
all
agree
bullshit.
with the
That's all
Supreme
bullshit
Court
anyway.
The
decision.
unalienated rights were like founded
Yeah.
on really like the whole. Is it the Third Amendment, the freedom of religion?
No, that's the first. That's under the.
Like,
No,
is
that's
it under-
freedom of the.
No, the
No,
first.
it's
Oh
not.
yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
expression. Yeah,
Oh,
freedom of
okay,
speech,
okay.
expression,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
freedom of
okay,
religion.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Yes. So, what I don't understand is a lot of the like the foundational laws, like for like I even think our Constitution were formed like from a basis of religion. So like I don't like the religion thing is just like an excuse to do whatever the hell you want. Like
Yeah, we're a fundamentally Christian society.
Wasn't that what we?
Or at
we're
least
a
that's how we
Judeo-Christian society. We are founded on Judeo-Christian principles. That is-
Wasn't that why we came to this country and colonized it to escape religious persecution?
No. This does have some truth. The Europeans came here to keep the slave trade going because the Britain outlawed it. That part is true. I won't go into the 1619 thing. I think that's all bullshit. But the real reason why people came over here was so that they could continue to have slaves because Britain outlawed it. We just fucking put it over the face of religion. So
Yeah, you
we
just label
the
some other
victors.
things so
Yeah,
you
the
sound good
I
in
agree
history
with
class.
the victors
Yeah.
take the fucking mud and they put it into a nice fucking prairie with a rainbow on it.
well, the Confederate didn't fucking fare so hot in the fucking war. So
And the
that's
and the
whatever.
Civil War,
So
and the
they
Civil-
ended up
and
getting
the
their
Civil
just
War-
desserts in the
and
end.
the Civil War wasn't also all just about slaves, and they didn't kill
Correct,
Lincoln
yeah.
because the South lost the war. It's
Well, I
like-
agree with the Supreme Court decision in overturning Roe v. Wade. It should be up to the states.
I agree. Yeah.
100%. It
Good
should be up to
decision.
the
I agree, yeah.
states.
Agree.
I
Good
agree.
decision making.
Well,
by
under
the
the
way,
constitutional law, then yeah, it is.
I
up to
agree.
the states.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it doesn't state anywhere in the Constitution that an abortion is protected.
Okay.
But at the same time, it contradicts itself. Like I said, as a United States citizen, you should have the right to do whatever you want when you want.
All right. Question: do you have the right to take away other people's rights?
No.
Then you can't do whatever you want whenever you want.
Or the right to take a life.
yeah, true.
Right,
You can't do whatever you want.
because if
Take
you
away-
want, if you
take
want,
away other people's
you
You
wanna
rights.
murder
just
someone.
end-
Oh, I can do whatever
Okay.
I want when I want.
What if
Okay,
I
let me out
want
of
to
jail, give me another
slowly
gun.
take over the government and reduce everybody's rights down to absolutely
It's in
nothing?
his hand.
To exactly what
Is that what
you
you're
know
looking
is
for?
kind of going on right now.
in a chair.
So, like, do people have the right to do that?
I'll say that again. I'm sorry.
Do people have the right to take away other people's rights? An example could be, what if I decided to take a very slow generational plan and I slowly start to take over the government and dwindle everybody's rights down to absolutely nothing, encroach an inch at a time over, I don't know, 4 or 5 generations.
You have
and
the right to do
take
that.
over everybody's rights.
It's
You
in
have
the
complete right to
Constitution.
What
do
did
that. You have the complete right
The
to negate
Constitution
everybody
says-
else's rights.
What did George Carlin say in one of his specials? You see all your rights? You like all your rights, all your God-given rights? Look up 1942 internment camps, and there's your fucking rights.
So you have the right to take away other people's rights.
I guess according to the Constitution, If you deem that the federal government isn't doing its job correctly, you have the right to do that.
Even in just a completely general scenario.
That's what militias are for, though.
Just a completely general scenario.
What
militia
militia
me and you.
freed the Japanese internment camp prisoners?
Those aren't rights, though. That's enforced ideology. Like, a militia is formed under the guise of fighting forced ideology. So I like, literally, actually, I just have to disagree. I have to disagree. Like, it's formed, a militia, things are formed under opposing ideology.
But the Constitution says you have the right, as an American citizen, to overthrow the government if you believe that the government's not doing its job properly.
Under a tyrannical government.
Right.
Right, but when the tyrannical government isn't being persecuted for anything and you don't
Well,
have any evidence, then where are you under legality?
Should all those people on January 6th been arrested?
No.
Did they have the right to do what they did?
Yes.
Yes.
Why were they arrested then?
Because there was a certain administration that was targeting them.
Correct.
Yeah, because you can take your rights and you can shove them up your ass.
So, do people have the right to take away other people's rights? If your answer to that question is yes, then I disagree with you. If your answer is no, then I agree with you.
I agree.
Can you, and under any circumstance, whatever you can possibly think of, whether it's giant corporations or a person interacting with another person, do they have the right to take away your rights if they feel like it?
Think of anything.
If they want to.
Think
I
of
guess
any.
no, then.
Think of anything. No.
Because Constitution is the
you
law
already
of the
came up
land.
with examples that was good counter arguments. You can actually come up with examples that are great counter arguments. I'm still agreeing with his point, but it's like there are he said slowly encroaching law over the course of 4 generations. Did they do anything wrong? Well, under the legality, they did nothing wrong. They encroached it slowly. They made sure that they had formal ties with this person and then put this law in place. So then over the course of the next 10 years, this law could be put in place because that would, people are most likely going to be either informed of this law because of how they shaped society to want to vote, or whatever they're forcing. I don't know. It depends on the country.
We're arresting everyone on January 6th. That's tyrannical. You can't do that. All those people had the right to do that.
And I agree.
And if they would have went in there with guns and actually hung Mike Pence like they were chanting, they had the right to do that.
Well, they would have got, everyone who charged Mike Pence would have got charged for manslaughter, but yes.
See, right, like that.
But that's not a right because now they get charged for criminal, and now their rights are gone. So, no.
Ultimately, don't, but if that's
criminal
the case,
charge. No right.
I get the maybe the point that they would be, acting as a representative of the government, right? But, isn't that person still a person with rights? So everybody who essentially killed him, even though he's a part of the government, wouldn't that still be enough to be like, all right, you kind of fucked up? You just took away somebody else's rights.
Well, if they would have killed Mike Pence or something like that, they had the right to do that according to the Constitution.
Where does it say that you have the right to kill someone?
Hold on. So then does that mean if you become a government, official,
I'm saying
you don't have rights
overthrowing the
anymore?
government. You have the right to overthrow the government.
If you become a government employee, do
Doesn't
you
mean
no
kill
longer
someone.
have rights?
Doesn't mean kill someone though. You
You
can
wouldn't
overthrow
owe-
the government without killing someone.
You wouldn't.
Probably not.
You wouldn't owe.
I
That.
know,
That's
I
wishful
know,
thinking,
I know, but
probably
I know it's wishful thinking, but we're gonna dig down into the legality of it. It doesn't overthrowing the government doesn't say you have to kill him.
And even me,
It doesn't.
And even me, who made this, even if I was this a random person with a random ideology, I'm a say I disagree with Mike Pence completely. That doesn't mean that they want him fucking dead. There's a difference when there's a difference when there's a small group of people that want this politician dead, and there's a difference when you have the Italian situation in World War II, when they actually hanged the leader in power, but everyone on the goddamn streets was like, woohoo!
I hate communism, but Red Scare, same thing.
Right. So, the only way that I could see that being, okay, being able to just, walk in there and just kill everyone who's a part of the government is if we were all under, some baseline that if you become a government agent, you are no longer, a person with normal rights.
Well, if you become a government agent now, you don't have the same rights as a normal citizen.
Well, you're a servant to the people.
Correct.
If you're in a public position, no matter if you're an agent or whatever, you are a servant to the public.
Yeah,
But
You
this
pay
also
your
goes
wages.
back to what I said earlier about the government being too strong like it is now. Everything should be up to the states, not the federal government. We should have a very, very, very small federal government to control, just keep stability and shit. But everything should be up to the states.
What's a small federal government?
Yeah, what type of power can they?
I don't
what
understand.
Do they have? Yeah.
I don't get that. Like, because you say small federal government, but the FBI, the CIA, like, we're talking about organizations. Like, if you're gonna make a small organization that's federal, they're not small.
I mean,
they're not small. They have jurisdiction
they have
over
federal
every state in your
access,
country.
But they are not really like. They're not really federal.
They have,
it's the same thing with like the
what
Federal
do you mean,
Reserve.
dude? The
They
FBI
have,
can
like, the
they have
ability
federal
to do all-
jurisdiction.
Yeah,
Like,
but what
they
I'm saying is-
override state
yeah,
jurisdiction.
I'm
what
pretty
saying is
sure
they're
the only
bigger
reason
than-
we
they're
have
bigger than
government
federal,
agencies
is
like
what
the
I've said.
FBI and CIA.
Yeah, they probably have more. They
agencies
probably
are
have more. They have more
far bigger.
power
Yo,
than
hold
what
up.
they should be
They're
allowed
a
to.
part of
Yes.
our federal system, but you shouldn't. We should find a different word because it's not the same. It's like Federal Reserve. It's like a way to confuse people. Like
I could
they
be-
do their own shit.
They're a
Like,
private
not a part of our
organization. The Federal
Yeah.
Reserve is a private organization. Keep
Right.
in mind, yes.
I could be wrong in saying this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the only reason we have agencies like the FBI and the CIA is because the Nazis had the Gestapo to control people.
That's
I'm
probably
not-
true to some
I'm
extent.
not going to say that the FBI and CIA did not have substantial, like, combatant against mafias and private militias like that. I'm not going to say that they didn't. Right? There is a use for them when there's heavy private militia in your area enforcing extreme law. Like, hey, we're protecting your area. We're going to take a fee, but you're going to pay us the fee. Like, that's something you might need the FBI or CIA for. I understand. But that doesn't happen.
Well, this even goes into
power
outlawing like
corrupts absolutely.
alcohol. The government doesn't have the right to do that. And the same thing goes for drugs and even hard drugs. If you want to do fucking coke every single day of your life,
fighting a
or
private
even
militia,
heroin, you
outlawing-
have the right to do that as a U.S.
But
citizen.
outlawing alcohol and fighting a private militia are two totally separate issues for a federal agency to deal with. I'm not gonna like to be honest. I don't even think the FBI when it comes to prohibition.
Well, what I'm
and things
getting
like
at
that,
is the government doesn't have the right to tell you what you can and can't do.
But when it comes to taking the rights away of another person, like what Stu was saying, there has to be law deciding on what you can and can't do, which bounds other people's rights.
When you say the government, what do you mean? When you say the government doesn't have
A
the
strong
right to tell
federal
you, you're saying
government.
a federal government. Okay, but the state government does have the right to tell you what to do.
Yes,
Okay.
100%.
They do.
If Ohio wants to outlaw alcohol, they have the right to do that as a state. That's how it should be.
Okay.
That's how it was supposed to be. We were never meant to have a strong federal government. Our founding fathers knew that would lead to bad things that are happening today.
Well, that's why
They
prohibition
warned
isn't a
us
thing
about
anymore.
this.
This was
That's why it's not a
supposed-
thing anymore.
This was supposed
Mistakes
to be
were
a
made.
social experiment, and it worked for a good amount of time. But
So-
power corrupts absolutely. You got people like Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Rockefeller,
I gotta take a
Rothschilds.
piss.
They just all come in and they just wipe everything clean. This
You see-
democracy system only works if everyone is fair and honorable.
Well,
the minute,
yeah,
the
let's-
minute someone comes in who's like, this system is easy to play, I'ma just play the system, and then you get a bunch of people to do that, it's just all fucked.
You know what? And I don't even think it's like a easy to play system. You're like, there's a bunch of people up the chain of command that don't have the nuts to tell you can't do this.
Mhm.
I'm working in my job, and there's a lot of people where like I could just say something, and they're like, oh, okay. Like I could just say no. I'm not doing this. I'm not transferring 2 of those to our plant. This is in critical demand. We're not doing this. I could have clearanced it. I could have told Shelby to fucking take purchasing up on it, and then we would have transferred the items. We're not gonna do it. So yeah, a lot of it is like people getting up chain of command, just realizing if I just have a pair of me, I don't even have to have the right decision. I'm gonna be in your face about it. I don't want to deal with this guy. He's all up in my face every single time I have to deal with him. He's fucking annoying. I'm just trying to do my work every day. Yeah, that'll go up the fucking chain of command fast. You can bet your sweet ass it will. It does all the time. And this is the same in private industry and public. It's the same fucking thing. You see it in private and public. If you don't have the balls to tell people you can't fucking do this, just sit your ass down. We have. By the way, there's company policy and things that we abide by. You can't fucking do this. I'm sorry. I hate to be that fucking buzzkill. That I don't like all my fucking company. Well, this is why they're fucking here, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens in the public industry and the private. Okay, yeah, power does corrupt, absolutely. But, dude, like, people up the chain of command have to say no. Like, no, you can't do this, man. There's a whole chain of command, and there's so many clearance that it goes through. So many people that have to approve of certain processes up a chain of command. And I can tell you, because I work for a fucking Ford, like, one of the most, like, since 19... Like, it's 118 years old. I can tell you from the most... Ford, it's the oldest company. Like, yes, like that's just how chain of command works, and it sucks, right? But it will. Yeah, if someone is just left unchecked, Peen Check podcast left unchecked, you're gonna fuck it. That'll happen.
Let me show y'all this. There's a lot of shit in like video games, movies, and all that. That's just a fucking psyop. Let me show you this.
Democracy? Democracy isn't what these people need. Hell, it's not even what they want. America's been running around the globe trying to install democracies in nation after nation for a century, and it hasn't worked one time. Now, why do you think that is?
Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because these
Jesus.
countries don't have
It's
the
an
most
age well.
basic building blocks necessary to support
Kevin
a
Spacey.
democracy.
This is COD Ghost.
Little things like
War-
we ought
Advanced
to be
Warfare.
tolerant of those who disagree with us, or we ought to be tolerant of those who worship a different god than us, or that a journalist ought to be able to disagree with a fucking president. And you think you can walk into this country based on fundamentalist religious principles, drop a couple of bombs, topple a dictator, and start a democracy? Give me a break. People don't want freedom. They want rules, boundaries, protections.
What is
From
this?
invaders and from themselves.
What movie?
People need a leader
There's
who
a
can both
cutscene from
provide
video game.
the constraints and the support
This is
to
COD.
keep chaos at bay.
I forgot who said
You
it.
give them that, and they'll follow.
Yeah, people have no problem giving up their
I
rights
for-
for safety.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I forgot who said that, but he said give it time. People will slowly give up their rights if they feel safe. The most dangerous words in the fucking English language are "We are the government and we are here to help you."
That is all.
It's like I said, democracy doesn't work. It's never worked in 2,000 years that it's been around.
It only works. If
But leave everything to free will, and nobody's united. Like there has to be a fair medium
People
of this shit.
probably would, to some extent, but it would be a lot more like very, very
Communal.
small groups against
Communal.
like other people. Would probably turn back into like raider villages type shit.
Tribal.
And if you stuck with that long enough, you'd eventually only know these people, and they would be your enemies.
Yep.
Because we have to compete to some extent. We're all the fucking same. So it's like, yeah, man, it's
Oh,
tough, bro.
dude,
This
back-
shit
It
is
gets,
tough.
it gets
bro.
tribal real
Yeah.
quick.
I'm a
Real quick.
backtrack real quick. I finally remembered when I was fucking. I lost this earlier. Fucking. What did you just say? I'm sorry. Fucking my brain's all over the place. What did you just tell Bryson?
That it would get back into like tribal. You have to compete against other people because we're all the same. It just kind of is what it is.
If you were
Lost
left,
it again.
no,
I
we were
lost it again.
no, we were talking about if you want to. Cause back to what you were thinking. We were talking about state power. We were talking about if you just left everything up to the state and there was no federal, if there was no federal jurisdiction to keep people together, you would just it would devolve into tribalism.
Yeah.
We have known this for a long time. That's why we have a federal government. If you are that separated in small communals, it will get tribal. It does that. People
That's-
get tight knit. Tight knit communities are they happen everywhere. It's Olmsted
Not
Falls.
yet.
It's the township. It's
Now I remember.
like okay, go.
Ben said that in the 60s, it was the Civil War actually helped America like be a United States because we all had a common enemy.
Mhm.
When we don't have a common enemy, we fight amongst ourselves. If we have a common enemy, we all like in the 60s, it didn't matter if you were this or that. We were all American and we're all fighting this Cold War together. Now there's no
Left, right.
Now
Well,
there's
it's not
no
American. Yeah, I'm a
We
Democrat.
were never
I'm a
meant to have
Republican.
political parties.
Identitarianism.
We
I'm
shouldn't
not even
have
a party.
political
I'm
parties.
I'm just. Well, let's make 70 flags and let's just do this shit.
Well, that's because, like Stu said, we probably don't actually have a choice at fucking anything. It's like George Carlin talks about. We have the illusion of choice. You walk into a donut shop.
Everything is the illusion
You
of
walk
choice.
into a donut shop. You have 30 flavors to pick. You walk into a fucking burger place. You have 20 toppings to put on. You have the Coca-Cola freestyle machine. You have 30 different drinks you can choose. But you have 2 political parties.
back to the
You have
estrogen
5.
thing though.
You have 5 insurance companies.
You
to
have
pick
choices.
from.
You have more choices than that.
Dude,
And,
you go to
and
the grocery store. All the brands are owned by the same fucking
So
company. You
I-
think you have a bunch of different options, but it's all the same shit.
so I don't like to use this as a counter argument because the amount of work the average citizen has to do to get this type of product is absolutely astounding. More props to my mom. She fucking went out to Amish country and got our eggs, meat, like all of our poultry and our milk. So we didn't because, and I didn't know this at the time, but reading like talking back to the previous conversation about the estrogen levels, my mom was actually doing this because there were extreme hormone pumping in certain cows to produce a certain amount of milk because there were certain guidelines. So there were, and then you started having milk companies, people that would produce it, saying this is non-hormonal milk. But that is why my mom had us do all of the shit with Amish country, is because she knew there would be no added hormones regardless of pasteurization, homogenization, regardless of all the bacteria you get, because of some of the bacteria that you get rid of. The same thing when you do when you sanitize a fucking desktop or you drink hand sanitizer will destroy good bacteria in your stomach. And there's enzymes in certain and especially creamy milk. Like when you don't get rid of the top layer of cream, there's enzymes in that milk that you're missing out that actually help your digestive tract, help you drink milk further in your lifespan, and you don't become your lactate remains further in your lifespan, so you don't become lactose intolerant as you age further. Dude, there is so much. I didn't realize how on top of it my mom actually was. Like, she actually did all this research and was 100% right about hormone imbalance in certain products that you eat every day, and just everything. Like, I didn't even realize like how on top of it. And like, she just like more props to her. Like, I can't imagine I would have my muscle mass or I would look the way I do without that diet in my life.
The farmers,
you'd probably be like,
bro, I'd probably be soy boy supreme,
bro.
Like, can I get a Crunch Wrap Supreme, no sour cream? Like, I'd be like, I would be frail.
The farmers that the government comes after the most are the Amish farmers, because they actually do shit the right way. Newsflash: the government said that you can't patent, you can't patent anything natural. And it costs way too much to test.
White Claw, sir?
Therefore, everything will never be natural. I'll wait till Bryson comes back to finish.
It was a pretty good podcast.
It's been a pretty good podcast. I'm dead as fuck.
Oh, for real?
See, now me personally, I wouldn't take that level of disrespect.
Ryan, I'm fucked up.
Personally, I wouldn't let that slide.
Ryan, I'm fucked up. I'm slurring my words. Also, Ryan, yo, can I get another one?
Yeah, I just gotta drive everybody
Anyway.
home.
Fucked
that's
up.
all.
I gotta drive,
Yeah.
dude. I gotta be
Anyway.
fucked up enough for that.
Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, the government made like you can't patent anything natural, and it costs way too much to test. So therefore, nothing we consume is actually natural, unless if you go to some place like an Amish farmer, go to some private company, private guy that's like, yeah, I could get in a lot of trouble by not following the government guidelines, but this is actually real food we're meant to eat, so here you go.
Yeah.
Farmers get fucked. Farmers are the most in debt.
Yeah, they
every
get shit
farmer is 1 to 1.5 million.
We kind of
in
already
debt.
talked about it.
Yeah,
like what I just said with the supply chain
they're
and
all
having
in
to
debt.
change the
They're
subsidies
all in-
of farmers. It all goes
They're
down.
all in debt. They only live till they're 50. Shout out farmers.
Well, it's because
that
they're
is
the
fact.
supply. They are the primary supplier in every single. And I'm not getting into manufacturing plants, and we're gonna just stick to food on this. Like, the farmers are the primary suppliers.
That's
okay?
why, yeah.
And that's why down the supply chain, when a politician is say we're gonna lower goods and things, you have to be careful on that, because if they're gonna lower the subsidy, like if they're gonna make it extremely less profitable for farmers over a certain acre, they only have so many acres of land. If you make it less profitable, they're gonna sell their fucking farmland. All of our farmland is being sold to China because it's not profitable for individual farmers off of the certain amount of acres they have because of the amount of subsidized land that they are fucking being provided. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So now, all of them are fucking
full of hormones and chemicals.
But
so we get sick.
But the
and
China,
we gotta go to the doctor.
Well, and guess what? A lot of pesticide and a lot of our chemical came from China. So when I worked for an extermination company, a lot of our concentrate and everything comes from China now. A lot of our stuff was sourced in the U.S. 20 years ago. It's not anymore. It's all sourced in China. They have extremely cheap pesticides that they can use for this. Not only can they take over your farmland, their production and their yield is probably going to be better. Okay, like I'm sorry, but the pesticide usage and things that they use on their plants is probably it's within regulation because it's within U.S. regulation. They're on our farmland. It's not there. It's not like they're using Chinese regulation on their fucking pesticides. Like we have an actual regulation. It's just it's all acceptable, and they're going to use as marginally close to the acceptable line as they can.
I mean, it's why it's illegal to go off the grid. You can't do that.
It's just I don't like.
Potatoes used to be this big. They're this big now. They used to be this big.
Genetically modifying food isn't even bad. To a certain extent, like depending on what you do, right? Genetically modifying food is
if the right people,
if you find out the hereditary, if you're like opting for dominant functions in certain plants and you're going through and doing it naturally, it's not like it is classified under genetically modified food, but it's natural. It's a natural process in how it's modified.
If you do it, if you have the right people with the right intentions behind it, it goes good. But when you have the tobacco companies that bought all the food companies in the 80s, and then they work with big pharma so that the food we eat is shit, so we have to go to the doctors, so we have to get medicine for treatment, and it's a never-ending cycle, that shit is happening too. Like, of course, it would be great if they actually genetically modified it to be the best it could be for our health. But they're not doing that. They're genetically modifying it to be worse for us.
For production. No, they're genetically modifying it for production, for yield, output. How big can it be?
I think they also
How
put...
thick is it? Can we upprice it?
I also think they're putting a lot of extra bad shit in there, too. I don't think what you're saying is wrong. You get more yield, it's better yield, but they're doing extra shit to it that's
right. There were people that
intentions.
eventually got the best genes over and over from generations of growing out these plants, and now we have some pretty nice-looking shit. But when
shit
it's
that
like,
never existed.
But when it's like, but when it's like fucking Bill Gates farming meat in a lab, it's like
that's when it gets bad. Yeah, right. Like, you can tinker with the genetics of nature and have it be fine. You can tinker with the genetics of nature to a certain extent and be like, dude, is this ethical? Like, yeah what the fuck are we even consuming? Like, is this going to like change our hormone balance and how we? You don't know. Like, there's a certain like. There's a lot of testosterone in red meat there that you get, like a lot of like the protein and stuff you get.
Don't eat it.
Yeah, why is cereal better to eat than red meat? According to the fucking new dietary statistics,
dude,
it is.
The shit,
sugar laced.
Bro, the shit that they are putting in the new dietary, bro. The phrase that I heard was like, dude, it was the way that they use. It said it's harmful language to say something like, I finished working out, so I deserve to eat this food. They're like, that's harmful speech. That's harmful language. Like, making food a reward and not like, yo, everybody's fat. We're fucking done. We lost. We've lost any hope at doing anything. We're all fucked. We're all fucked.
There's no you deserve it.
It's like
you always deserve it. Eat it whenever you want.
I just watched this film on
Fuck
Bill Burr, and he was talking.
He
was on Conan. Bill Burr's talking. Conan was like, "This ain't even gonna air." He's fucking like, "Oh God!" And Bill Burr's just geeking. He's like, "There's nothing funnier than me sitting next to my wife and us watching these fat people documentaries, and she's crying and I'm laughing my ass off because I just got back from traveling the country. I saw some real poverty where kids are fucking starving. It's fucking sad. And then I come back here and I can't stop eating Oreos. It's like, yes, you stop. Just eat some fucking salad. Eat some tomatoes. Eat something that's not filled with processed sugar.
Just stop eating.
It's so hard because it's all I notice on the shelves when I go to the grocery store. You're a fat fuck.
Yeah, no, you're lying like shit.
Sorry.
You're a piece of shit.
Is that what you wanted to hear? I don't know. You're complaining. You want to give me? I'll give you advice. I don't like any of it.
Is the fat dude who's 500 pounds a model? No, but Lizzo is.
Yeah, women are just privileged in our society.
Women are, that's a different standard because the only other standard you're gonna see like that is Nikocado Avocado, and he's more of a meme than he is.
Nobody
idolized.
likes that guy.
Yeah, I know. But
not a single fucking person.
I know, but I know. But he has fame.
He has fame. For
infamous.
Being
he has infame.
What you don't want to be is that. This is something that, dude.
He's just not idolized for it.
I don't understand people's like loving and cherishing of like grotesque fucked up shit. Like watching his shit and enjoying watching that, it tweaks me out, bro. It's like blurred out name from what somebody used to do in middle school all the time, they had a group of people that used to just bully people, but they would go like full extreme into like making fun of people by making them do crazy weird ass shit and like blackmailing them and crazy. And it's like, how do you enjoy that? It's like, how do you enjoy this, bro? Like, what? I don't know, man. What do you get out of pushing people to their limit?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Just to add some extra to that, they're still cool with those. Well,
I know.
At least one person they're cool with, and I think that they changed them for the better.
Yeah, probably.
It's
probably.
Not all bullying is good, but bullying definitely helps society.
The majority of bullying is good.
If you're a fucking weirdo,
teachers used to beat the shit out of kids if they fucked up in school.
If you're a weirdo or a loser and you get beat for it, and then you don't become a weirdo or a loser. See, honestly, and I don't know about you, but like me, like I got tired of fucking people telling me to put a shirt on, so that's why I fucking lost weight. And am I better for it? Yes. Was it mean? Yeah. But was it effective? Yeah. Am I low-key thankful for it now? Yeah.
See,
it sucks at the time, but like you actually work through it.
To tell somebody the truth?
No.
See, like that's what's really like that's what makes these conversations so tough. It's like, you know,
like you asking me earlier, like, what are you gonna do about those, bro? Like,
yeah, like what are you gonna do about those, man? What are you doing? I got your fucking nipples staring at me, bro.
I'm intimidated.
Like me personally, I just don't give a fuck if someone makes a comment like that. Because
that's fine.
That's good and bad in its own way.
What you said. You said your teacher used to beat the fuck out of you. See, this is growing up in different times, right? Like in the past, I probably would be all for that, and I understand why that makes sense. But now, with the teachers I grew up with, fuck no, man. Fuck no. There's not a single chance I would let any of them touch me.
They used to beat kids with paddles, and then Pink Floyd came out with another brick in the wall.
Teacher,
when we were young, my ass is so hurt.
There were certain teachers that would hurt children any way they could.
They even touched my butt, diddled a little in my wall.
We did. Exposing every weakness, however carefully hidden by the kid.
Teachers aren't paid enough to do good work nowadays.
You said me personally, I don't care about.
Well, the problem is too,
I don't give a fuck if someone makes a comment about my weight or something like that. It doesn't affect me. Cause that's how my pops raised me, to just not give a fuck what other people think.
Well, that's good, to some extent. But it's not always good.
Right. It's like if I was to make music and every person said
you're so good at making music, like, no, you could definitely be doing this better, dude. Like, it doesn't sound good. Like when you transition into this and this, like it just doesn't sound good. Like I'm sorry, like I don't know how long you've been doing this, but like I don't like the way that sounds.
Like to
that might be helpful information.
Like to me, when you said, what are you gonna do about those? Like that shit's just funny to me. You know what I mean? Like fat jokes are fucking funny,
bro. It is funny. Like that.
Well,
see,
they're funny.
Here's the thing. That's my route to doing things. I approach like everything through just being funny. That's it.
Which is probably the best way to do it.
Most other people,
so.
I can't speak for most other
malicious
people.
At the very least, if you're gonna tell someone the truth. So yeah.
I can't speak for most other people, but I know, like, if you were to say some shit like that to my pops, he would be geeking his ass off. He would find that shit funny as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, this is how I was brought up. Like, I don't really give a fuck what people think about me.
Well, if you're gonna want to do this, then you should.
No.
True.
Well, to an extent.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Everything's to an extent.
You should care. Like, I'll put it this way. You should care about what we think about you. I should care about what all of you think about me. That's at least you should care about that.
That's fair, because that's what friends do. Because you care about what I think about you, and I care about what you think about me. Like, it's not just like, it isn't just about like you. Like, it's like both of us. You know, like it's both of the friends. Like, you like I like this person.
I want to know that you like me.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's
you should
done
care about the criticisms of those around you. Like, see, but that's why the internet is really tough, because
they're not your friends.
Some people really care about you.
They do, but you don't know.
Exactly, it's just another name and some text on the screen. So
It's
like,
easy to
now-
see
yeah,
it as
well,
an
yeah,
opponent.
to that extent, like if we were popping off
Yo.
and hella people were like commenting on shit and like, yo, what's that fat nigga's name? And I shouldn't say.
We got him.
God,
We got
got
him.
him.
We got him.
Canceled.
It's an
One
MP4
year-
now. Woo! It's an MP4 now. Woo! Yeah, we can do something about that. Woo!
you tribute. Nah, yeah, we can just cut.
Yeah, woo! We can actually edit this. Woo!
We'll just mute. There will be things that should be muted, like certain individuals' names of higher status should probably be blurred out.
But anyways, if someone were, if like hella people were commenting like, oh, what's that fat dude's name in the fucking Dragon Ball hoodie? Like that shit would just geek me out. You know what I mean? Like I don't give a fuck.
Dude, honestly, I've seen like when I
Do
go
you
through
like
like some
being
YouTube
fat?
comments.
Do I like being fat?
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to change it?
Yeah.
Then you should give a fuck when
I
people
tell
say
you,
you're fat.
yeah, I tell you, you look 100 times better in all those old videos of the Ren.
Bro, let me tell you something, bro. Tyler.
Schaumburg?
When I was growing up, that shit used to irritate me so much, and I never understood it.
What are you
And then
talking
I
about?
lost a bunch of weight. Tyler was the number one person that was in my head that was just like, "No, you're fat." Like,
Why? And who was this kid? And
That-
how did you know him?
Tyler was probably my best friend for a very long time.
He was
Since-
a homie for sure.
Like I hung
Since
out with that dude. Like,
since little? Like how little? Since you
probably
know.
like
I know we
Like
were
grade
over
school?
that dude's
I met
house
him
all
young.
the time.
I met him when I was pretty young, but
Middle
I don't
school,
think we
you've known
really.
him?
Yeah, probably big friends in like middle school time.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle school throughout high school. It was like that. That was like I hung out with that motherfucker
Through most of high school?
every day, all the time.
Did you ever hang out with him in high school?
Kind of, but we
Split like
yeah, separate
9th,
things,
10th
do
grade
whatever
kinda.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Like how
own
it always
path.
goes in school.
Yeah,
Everyone
like-
goes on
Yeah,
their own
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
like that.
he was like when I think about it, still to this day, I hear that dude's voice. Like you're fucking fat piece of shit. Like what the fuck are you doing? Like like worthless. Like straight up. And at the time, it's like yo, this is tough. Like yo, what the fuck, man? Like that. It's
It's a lot from a friend, bro.
Yeah, but
I'd be like, fuck you, man.
now,
What the fuck?
well, yeah, dude, me and him used to fight all the time.
I'd be like, what the fuck,
We used to
man? Why you
fight
so
all
on my
the-
why you
yeah,
so on my
bro.
dick, man? Why the fuck you on
We
my
used to
dick so
fight
much?
all the time, bro. But now it's like, now that I've lost a bunch of weight, I'm just like, man, I really should have listened to you, bro. Like I appreciate it, straight up, bro.
That is
It's
like
like,
that's like
It's hard
that's
love.
heart
It's
that's
hard
heart
love.
Yeah.
that's
It's hard love.
heartwarming.
Yeah.
That is heartwarming.
It's hard
love.
Actually,
dude.
hearing that story
When you
actually
fucking pity
it's
flip me,
heartwarming.
it's hard
actually.
love.
like, it's straight, yeah, dude.
It's love in a certain fashion. Like it's the same heartfelt thing you get
It's
from
what-
any other thing, but just in a more
It's what-
hard.
that's a masculine story. That's how most men are gonna. That's how men do things. That's how you need to be taught things, bro. You can't be sugarcoated and like let shit happen. You'd be like, no, you dumb fucking idiot. You sound like a fucking retard. Like it just has to be that way. Because if it's not, then you'd be like, oh, well, it's not that bad. I don't have to worry.
It's
about
like, no,
it.
you're actually fucking shit up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. Like, you need to be doing this a different way. Like, that is bad.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
you're
what it takes,
you're an
bro.
idiot. You're like, oh, man. And some people will break down actually and give you a huge thing, and that's a problem with
Yeah.
my old roommate. It was like I couldn't get to him, man. I couldn't. There was no conversation I could get to him. It was combatant, and it was like at every
Yeah.
point, at
Yeah,
every
yeah.
point in the way he lived his life. It was like I couldn't make fun of anything about the way he lives his life. And you can make fun of me and how I live my life. I'm a fucking loser, and I understand. But it's like I can't even joke with this fucking kid. Like he's like, you know, it's like even like, you know, just like little things. It's like, oh, man, oh, Miller's like.
I don't care what anybody. If you cannot play with people, you don't want to talk to them, bro. It's that simple. When you can't joke, when you can't play with somebody, when you can't have fun, that is not a person you should be around.
I agree.
Simply, like you are a bad person to be around. If you cannot play, that is a fuck up on your end. Very simple. Like that's how it is, bro.
It is, and it's a lot of it is actually, it's funny. Compromise is made a lot through play.
Yeah.
And as much as you don't
That's
think
how
it
you learn
is,
people, man. It's boundaries. You have to.
all of my coworkers are a lot older than me, and a lot of them will just say shit, and I love the way they talk. I fucking love the way they talk. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not politically here. I'm like, dude, keep it going.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
like,
this shit,
if
nigga.
you are gonna suppress your talk, I don't want to work here anymore. Like, if you're gonna like be scared about what you say around me, like, dude, I don't want.
That's the one thing I liked about
facts.
John.
I
That
love
is
my job.
facts.
I will go. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow at 5:50, and I'm gonna show up to my job, and I'm gonna go to Mark and be like, "What's up, bitch?" I won't say that, but he will be like, this fucking retard sent me this fucking from India because they're purchasing apartments in fucking India. I don't even know what the fuck. He's not even sending legible sentences. I don't even know what the fuck he's saying. I'm like, let's see. Let's go fix this out for you. We'll see what's going on. I'm like, yeah, let's get into this. I'm like, let's see this retard. I'm like, let's go, dude.
Yeah, go ahead.
I like this guy. I like the way he talks. Like, it makes it. He holds people to a standard with the way he talks, even if it's degrading. Like, it's for a purpose, man. You have a purpose. Do your fucking job, man. I like it. I think it's great. I was so afraid I was gonna work in some fucking politically correct. It's so much better.
Let me just say this though. Like I said, I don't give a fuck what people think about me to an extent. But when it comes to my fucking ex, that shit still haunts me to this day.
How long did you spend with your ex?
Almost 2 years.
So you would say that she knows some things about you
every single day, 24/7, 2 years, basically.
Living together.
Not living together, but we were, spending time with each other every single day. Shit like that.
But you would wake up with, she'd sleep over sometimes, so she knew what it was like to wake up next to you and things.
She never actually slept over. Their parents
really?
were strict. Yeah.
Wait, so I would say that your situation is a little different here, because I think living with someone and waking up next to someone is a completely different relationship to, not... You wake up next to each other. What do you do for breakfast?
Like, I won't say that,
situation. It's like a fucking.
Yeah,
it's like
it's different. Yeah.
It's just like everything. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing now? It's like It's not like, what am I gonna do? I want to sit here and play video games. Nope. Woke up. We got breakfast. I can't do anything I like.
Like, I never.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Like, I never really looked for relationships growing up. Like, I had flings with girls and stuff, but, like, I can honestly say dating my ex, and I'm not going to say names because we're live right now. That was the first and only time that I really let myself get that vulnerable with someone. Like, she knew everything about me, and I won't say everything with her was bad, but, like, the way she treated me and shit, the things that were said to me,
why is she holding
that
you,
I put up with, haunts me to this day.
Like, why? Like, so it's good you left her, because anyone that's holding...
No, she left me.
If you're okay, it doesn't matter. She, like, the scrutiny, like, you're telling her everything, right? She's, like, holding you to scrutiny, but it's like, how can I trust you with information if you're going to hold me to this much scrutiny when I tell you the truth?
Correct.
I understand you have your critiques about me, but, like, dude, it can't interfere on everything we talk about. It's like a like when you have, especially when you have a relationship, if she's just gonna dwell on whatever the fuck she's dwelling on about you, it's gonna come up in every fucking conversation you guys have. She's gonna be digging up dirt on you. She's gonna be doing this shit. She's gonna be judging your character at every fucking thing of the way. Women do this. They, like, men, when they complain, I was actually talking to one of my friends, Nathan, about this. When men complain, because I was like, do women complain more or do men complain more? I'm like, well, I think they complain equally, but what men complain about more doesn't seem to be judging people's character. Like, I've heard men judging people's character. I don't like this guy. I've heard that plenty of times. But when women gossip, they are holding people to the utmost scrutiny possible. Yeah. And when men gossip, it's like, you're going to talk to this guy to his face-to-face, and you'll probably still treat him like a friend. But when women gossip, they hold people to characterize scrutiny to the utmost moral degree.
Dude, they assassinate
and it is malicious.
Your personality.
Malicious. It's malicious.
Yeah, bro. It's terrible, dude. Well, see, here's my thing. I would say women definitely complain more because they can't hide their true feelings. If they're mad at you or in a bad mood, you will know.
Yeah, they're more
But
social.
I think it's far worse with guys because it becomes a big issue. It's never just like, this shit sucks, I'm gonna fix it and let's talk about it. It's always like, no, fuck you, I'm right, and it's combative and it becomes a big problem. So, yeah. I mean, like, men complaining and arguing is probably worse. But women definitely do it more.
Okay, cool.
I would say.
Yeah, because it was hard for me to distinguish those two, right? Like, isn't that like a hard distinction? Because you're like, I've been around guys, like, when I work, I'm around guys all day that complain.
Women can't,
but
most women would rather not fight physically, so they'll fight with their words, and they'll hurt you in the soul. They'll dig deep with a knife.
Correct.
So
I'll
it's
say
more
this much.
in their nature to fight with words and to fight people based off of their reputation, because you can't fight physically. The reputation is the only place where you can hold a man by his balls.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, like, if we want to actually think about it, your reputation is really the only thing that matters. I can't get a job when my reputation's ruined. If I have a criminal background, whatever it is, people don't like me in my community because I fucked up someone's lamp pole. It's everything. It doesn't even have to be on criminal record, dude. It could be, I don't like fucking dealing with this guy on a day-to-day basis. He's a dickhead. He's a fucking asshole. So, like, you're constantly checked by fucking females on that, man. I mean, like
let me say this
they really,
much, though, like,
fucking know. I mean, I'm not trying to say you are the main fuck up in that. I'm just saying, like, women.
Don't get me wrong.
Women
I
hold people to high
fuck-ups,
scrutiny,
you know?
and you would know more than I do. So
everybody does in a relationship.
But it's like the scrutiny that women hold people to. It's like you trusted her, saying a lot of things that were personal to you. Like, why is that ammo? Why is that ammo? Like, that's so fucking ridiculous, right? Like, if you're gonna, like, I don't know, man. That's such a low blow. To me, it's just like, why are you gonna, like, someone's like trusting you enough to tell you stuff like that, and you're gonna use it as fucking ammo against them when things don't go your way in the relationship. That's fine. I don't care what you did in the relationship. It could have been warranted for all I care. I would never do that. Like, in the relationship, that's like, that seems malicious. Regardless of the situation. I'm not gonna, like, that past shit. Dude, if we did the past battle all day, I wouldn't be friends with anyone. I don't like some things that everyone does. I don't like that's not the
I learned one of my
point.
big lessons, definitely, to not love someone unconditionally like I did with my ex. Because when she broke up with me, and I'll admit it, to this day, a lot of the reasons why I think the way I do or I act the way I do is because of how that affected me. When she left me, that absolutely broke me. Because...
Well, then she's still winning. If it's still affecting
Well,
you.
yeah, but...
Bro, he invested and trusted a lot in with this chick, though.
Like, I wanted to marry this girl. That's how much I love them. And I will never love someone that much again. Just because of that. Like...
It's gonna be... well, your trust. You now, because of that, the amount of trust you're gonna have in anyone else you meet is, like... Think of the marginal barrier.
Like, my
trust
grandpa
now.
got cheated on.
You're not gonna tell anyone, like, the next girl you're with, like, yeah, you are gonna be a lot more careful about what you tell her now. You're not gonna be as personal with how you were with your girlfriend. Like, that's not good.
I was gonna say,
good.
I want to kind of be the voice of reason here. Like, that's not good. Yeah,
It's not.
That's not good.
It's not. That's
not good.
bad. That's a horrible influence
That's
to have
why-
on your future relationships. Trust is the only thing that keeps reputation and your guidelines in bound. Like, I don't like.
Trust is the
Like,
only
when
thing that
she
keeps
broke up with
relationships
me-
in general. Like, the reasons why we're friends is because we can trust one another.
Correct.
Like, when she broke up with me, I was already dealing with so much that was already going on in my life, and I won't even go into that. But when she broke up with me, that was, like, a breaking point for me. Like, I can say now that I'm in a better place than I was then, but when she broke up with me, that absolutely just, I've never felt pain like I did with that.
I can't.
Like, it hurts so bad. Like, I remember and I'll admit it, I was sobbing in my mom's arms, just telling her I didn't want to be alive anymore because of how much it hurt me. For weeks and months that I dealt with that, it hurt me so bad.
It's rough though. I mean, I can't
Yeah,
like.
it's
I don't.
rough.
I don't even like. That's tough to relate to. I don't know because it's just so much trust in place and now it's gone.
All I can
What
really
was
say is...
what was any of that? There was no point to any of that relationship now whatsoever. That just it feels like you got neglected and abandoned by everything you love. I don't know. I can't. Literally I can't relate to that. I don't know what that
make you
feels.
feel would be
I'm sorry.
I don't know
can't-
why
I can't relate to you.
I
I'm
look
sorry.
back and I don't know why I put up with it as long as I did. Like, the one thing that really sticks with me to this day is her telling me that she needed a Polaroid of me on the back of her phone to know that I existed and to remember to text me.
Oh my god, that's what the
Yeah,
fuck.
I could never. Yeah, dude. When I heard that,
I
was like,
I was in a
What?
fling for 2 weeks, and the minute that shit
What?
went sideways, I fucking dipped.
Jesus Christ, that's a
Yeah.
That
brutal.
still sticks with me to this day, unfortunately. Just
Jesus Christ.
remembering how much that just stung to hear. And that's why I'll never love someone as much as I did her. I literally love that girl more than I can even begin to describe. And I'll never do that again. That's the one thing, though. Like I say, I don't give a fuck what people say about me, and that's true. But, like, that shit, that hurt a lot.
It's a lot of trust you invested. That's a lot of everything. That's rough.
Yeah, it does suck, but I hope you learn a lot from it.
You know
I
what?
also hope that you don't let your past control your future.
Don't let it compromise your future
Because
relationships.
one of the big
I'm not gonna let it control or dictate my new relationship.
one of the big like icks or red flag, whatever you want to say, I have with chicks is past trauma. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
deal with that at all.
Oh yeah, no.
Because it is so unfair to be on the receiving end of that. You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
that's why I dipped.
It's
Because
like
I said I don't want to deal with that, and
Yeah.
it was good for 2 weeks, and then all that shit came coming up.
She
and I'm like, what did I
manipulated me.
say?
She treated me like shit, and I just put up with it because I just loved them unconditionally.
oh, men look for reasons to qualify women, and women look for reasons to disqualify men. That's how things go. That's why guys tend to put up with a lot of crazy shit. But women put up with really extreme shit like getting beat. But
Man, doesn't that not just fit into what I just said about like women just holding people to scrutiny?
yeah,
It's like the critique is there more. You know, it's like
well, they have to be.
I see guys.
They have to.
I know. I see guys doing stuff and mistakes that I'm like, you know what? I could have easily made that mistake, even knowing what I know now. Man, I could have. You know, that's a reasonable thing. But you know, women will just hold it to more scrutiny. It just happens.
Now you do one bad thing. Well, see, like a good example is like if we like for instance, if you have a friend, if you're a male and you have a friend and you have an amazing time with that dude every time. Let's say it's like a year, and then a year in you guys get into a huge fucking fight, and you stop being friends. When you talk about him to other people, you'll probably say something along the lines of everything was great, then we got into a big fight, and it is what it is. But he's still an awesome person. I wish him the best of luck. Right. The same scenario happens with a female, and they're gonna say the way they're gonna think about it is they're gonna think that one negative experience that they had after a full year of nothing but bliss is who you really are, and you showed your true colors that one time. That's how chicks take it,
That's
especially
so
in a relationship
brutal,
with other men.
man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. It's rough.
It's like
God,
chicks
you know?
will leave their nice life for some rich like prince, and then he's out fucking all these other women while she's at home doing his house chores. It's like, well, isn't that what you wanted? Oh no, it's not. Well, it's what you asked for.
not to him fucking other people, but it's like, and it doesn't have to be held to that extent. It's
No,
just
that's
like,
an extreme. That's an extreme example.
That is an extreme example, but like most, like here's the thing: if you are not capable of having sex with other women, you are less attractive to your girl. I'm not saying that you have to go out and cheat.
Yeah, because
I'm
it
saying
makes
you
her
don't-
feel like she has to keep you.
Yeah, and it also makes her feel special that you choose her out of everybody else. But in that super extreme example, like a Prince, an NBA player, a musician, any of these famous guys, they're not gonna. Why the fuck would they? You're completely throwing yourself at them, and you want them to lie to you and say that you're gonna be special. You already know the truth is that's not the truth. Like, you think a chick sees a really like famous dude at the club or some shit, and is like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna go sleep with him. He's gonna be faithful to me." Not in the fucking slightest, dude. Not in the slightest, bro.
I mean, yeah. When it comes to certain chicks like that, I think a lot of chicks when they get past a certain age, they kind of want to lay down a little bit more. So I don't know.
Because they can't abuse the power of being young and
because their
attractive
body's
anymore.
fucking riddled.
Because nobody's flying them out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
They hit the wall.
well, yeah. I mean, essentially
Another
they
brick.
did.
Another brick.
Another brick.
Straight up, yeah. Just another brick in the wall of what is it, misandry.
No, not to hate on women. It's just they have their own They have their own ways to deal with reality, and
I love
the way that they are, it's brutal.
How can I have
I
children?
mean, let's be
It's
real
brutal,
here, though.
man.
From my experience, you don't want to be fucking whipped by a bitch.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. That's the worst possible position a man can be in, is being controlled by
That's
a
why
woman.
you just dip out after 2 weeks and be lied to that you're gonna have a kid for the next 9 months.
But don't get me wrong, I think having a good woman is a very valuable asset to
It
your
is.
life. Like, the point of
a
having
check,
a woman is that
too.
she is supposed to be an asset to your life. Most women are just straight
there's
up like,
gender roles, and now it's all fucking.
I mean, there's been times where I've thought certain things, and Gina's like, really? You gotta bring it to like that extent? And like, there's been times where my girlfriend's checked me. on the way I've acted. Like females are more susceptible to negative emotion, but they're much more agreeable people. Like a girl is gonna tell you how to get through a situation with compromise better than anyone else. Like I'm sorry to bring up this example, but like in The Boys, like in the show The Boys, the Aquaman ripoff or whatever his name is, the
I've seen the first few episodes.
Whatever. Oh fuck, that's gonna be a spoiler.
Just who cares?
He's
No one cares.
He ends up getting kicked off the team, and he gets a wife or whatever, and a girl, and the girl ends up like telling him like how special he can be and whatnot. And the girl ends up like being the whole narrative why I forget what his name is, the ocean, I fucking forget what his name is, the deep, that's his name, the deep. The deep. He's like they have read all these books about him, and like he makes it back up through the ladder just through like the emotional story that he's a complete numbnuts. He didn't write any of the books. His wife did everything for him. Gets back onto the League of Superheroes, and it's just like that actually does tell like a good story. Like that, like women can actually like guide you to a path of compromise and more agreeableness. Like especially if you're a more combatant male, like, especially if you're more aggressive, like they will tell you how to deal with situations that will lead to less problems in your life.
Right.
Yeah, everything is balanced.
That doesn't like they might be wrong. Like you might want to combat it more. That might be the more optimal situations to be like go up to your boss and be like, hey, no, this isn't the situation. But your girlfriend might be like, hey, no, like that's a little too aggressive, buddy. Like that's not really how that should be. So like that's what I've noticed from my girlfriend. She'll tell me when to be less aggressive, and it actually is helpful to reach situations of compromise where I have to deal with less problems that I would have created for myself, stepping for no apparent reason because I think it needs to be dealt in an aggressive manner, and I think I'm big boss tier. And
I think a lot of those things are very, very situational.
Humility.
Very situational. Because like me personally, like the advice that I have gotten from women in terms of like being agreeable makes you too agreeable as a man. Like you cannot, like you need to have women in your life to bring you back down, but they cannot be your baseline.
I agree.
They cannot. Like you, and the other thing is you also need to have a woman that's feminine enough and secure enough in her own self to understand that like you have to be a leader. But it also means that you have to be a competent person. Yeah. You can't just be a fucking dork and be like, oh damn, bro, why don't I get any bitches? Because you're a fucking loser.
She's an advisor. Like a good advisor. So, hopefully. Yeah. Right?
Well, like I mean, that's the end goal, right?
Someone who is going to lead you to be the best person you can be.
You can operate at 100% without her in the best case scenario, but with her, you're at 110. But when you're already at 100, that 10% is like 200. So, yeah. I mean,
good shit. I like that. No, that's a good.
Very,
like, that's,
very valuable.
That's very. It is very valuable. Like you can't keep it like. I hate bashing on women. I hate it. I really don't like it because women are so valuable for so many things. But like, if we're gonna come on, let's keep the playing fields even. If we're gonna hold men to this scrutiny, let's hold women to some scrutiny too, right? Come on. I mean,
like Andrew said, women belong in the kitchen. Is that true?
No, but some of them might cook a hell of a better meal than you, and I can guarantee most and I can guarantee you most of the head chefs are probably male. I can guarantee you the best, and I can actually guarantee you, and I know this for a fact, that most of the head chefs that own their own restaurants and do the best type of work and are considered the best renowned chefs are male.
I think they're
actually more than 80%. More than 80%.
Unfortunately, whoever I end up with, I'm gonna be the one cooking the meals and shit. Cause I'm a cook.
For as much, I was about to say, for as much as you'd like a female cook, I'm sorry, but you might cook better.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I think the reason they're only like top dominated. This is gonna sound a little weird from what I normally say, but it's because of the fact that for you to become a Gordon Ramsay, like. Personality-wise, only men are going to be doing something. Only men want to do something like that. And it also has to do with like hierarchies in companies and whatnot. It's like women, women cannot handle stress.
Sure, but like, women are not willing to sacrifice a majority of their life to become a master at an art.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, so let's take that into account.
My mother believes a president should not be a female. Because she says, what happens if they're going through menopause? What happens if they get their period? I know I wouldn't want to be in the control of a nuclear button when I'm on my period.
Most men wouldn't, by the way. Most men don't want to even be in that position. Right. So your mom's pretty rational in thinking.
The amount of stress and all the things you have to do. Bro, women fold under stress, and men either fold and turn into fucking losers or become the fucking men of the century, bro. Like it is what it is. So.
You will crumple under certain stress, and in any part of your life. It doesn't matter if it's work. It doesn't matter if it's your regular life. It doesn't matter if it's anything. It could be regular stress.
How long have we been live for? 2 hours.
Probably about 2 hours.
Yeah, a little over.
We'll end it here. We can end it here. I mean, we weren't doing the face recordings, but fuck that shit. We will figure out something better for the face recordings. Like we will try to. I'll try to get a tripod. I'll contact my buddy Miller.
Our best bet would probably be to just have like two or three cameras. So nobody has their own individual. We have one that's back far enough for a main, and then two that are like this half of the room, this half of the room.
When we have someone
Come on,
like that would probably be. That's probably the best option. But
all right, we're out of here, boys.
You say you're copping a few?
This is the ninth in person or the 10th, depending on how I wrote it down.
Peen check.